Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 22 or 23, one of those two numbers. I'm not sure which one it is. This is the New Companions, the ESO Elder Scrolls Online podcast from myself, Jebro. And every week we have a couple of new guests. And this week I have Stardancer and T the Khajiit. You're going to hear from them in a moment. But first of all, just going to talk about very quickly about what we're talking about today. It's going to be improvements in Elder Scrolls Online, which is a really general topic. Okay, pretty wide. There's a lot of things we can actually talk about, and we're live on Twitch as well as everywhere else, audibly, iTunes, Spotify, all the things, and twitch.tv/Jebrouni every 2 or 3 weeks. And we're ramping up to DLCs and crazy year ahead. So why not think about improvements? And maybe someone will be watching somewhere or listening, and they'll be like, "Yeah, I think that's a really good idea that Jebro had about having a specific hat in the game." I don't know, Anyway, Stardancer and T here. Star, how are you doing? Are you all right? What do you do? Tell us about what you do. How are you doing today? And what's going on?
I'm doing good. I stream on my Twitch channel, which is just twitch.tv/Stardancer or twitch.tv/Stardancer. I stream variety, so we do lots of RPG games. Right now we're playing through Skyrim, which is kind of fitting with the new expansion coming out. I also play lots of Elder Scrolls Online, which is kind of what I got started streaming. So that's how my channel kind of grew and where a lot of my community originates from. Even if a lot of them don't play ESO anymore, they still stick around and enjoy watching the game. And yeah.
Cool. Awesome. T the Khajiit, who has been here many a time. How are you doing today?
Hello. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me back.
No worries. What do you want to quickly... I know I say that you've been here many times before, but other people may not know who you are. So do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do, where you're going, what you've seen?
Yeah. I am also a streamer who mains ESO, and my Twitch channel is twitch.tv/T_the_Khajiit, as my bot likes to call me. Like I said, I play a lot of Elder Scrolls, but I also do a lot of Nintendo games. Gonna be doing Animal Crossing. I know Stars as well when that comes out. Trying to get into Final Fantasy 14, but eventually. But ESO is my love.
ESO is my love. Awesome, good stuff. And I hope everyone can hear everything well on the stream as well. Just let me know if you can't. Let me know if it's too quiet. That would be good. The audio is a little bit different this week, so if you could let me know if anything sounds bad, just do the thumbs up. That's it, exactly. Thank you so much. Awesome. T the Khajiit, the Stardancer. Make sure you go and check them out. They are awesome streamers. They play a lot of Elder Scrolls as well. To add what Star said, I've also been playing Skyrim as well recently. So it's actually kind of interesting to play that game and then go into Elder Scrolls and be like, oh, there's some stuff there that could be quite cool in the ESO as well, but we can talk about that in a bit. Okay, so first of all, so the topic is very general. It's just ESO ideas for improvements can be improvements, things that could just be done a little bit differently and easier, and these are probably very specific to our own tastes, right? What we would like to have, but other people, probably don't really care about. I don't know, but this one feels this feels kind of important, not really for even for us, but for longevity of the game, I suppose. Because in the end of the day, we stream this game and we earn a living off of this game as well. So we want, there is a slightly selfish thing coming from me where I'm just it would be nice if people play this game in the future or they stuck around, or I could answer a question in chat that's not every day, where do I start, or where do I continue in the story, or where do I even start off in the game, for example. So the first thing really is, how do you guys feel about kind of where you start as a brand new player in the game? Because so Greymoor's coming out, example. you new players, new people who come to the game, they're starting in Greymore. That's it. I ain't got a choice. How do you? Is there anything like where you're like, oh, that's quite far in actually? Oh, is there anything? Do you have any feelings about that start? I'm not sure how you feel about like if it matters. Does it?
Yeah. Yeah, I have some thoughts about it just because I remember when I first started the game, it was like before Morrowind and I was playing on PS4. And I remember starting in, because all of my characters were elves and Khajiits, so I started in Ardon, and it kind of gave me like a connection to, I think, Dominion, where I felt like really attached to those areas because I started there. And then the quests weren't too challenging, so I didn't feel like overwhelmed at all as I was going through. Like, I didn't feel in over my head at all. And then I took a little break from the game before switching to PC, and by that time, Morrowind was out, but Somerset wasn't out yet. So I remember starting in Vardenfell, and I was like, oh, this is different. Like, I didn't start in Ardon. So I think I remember watching, for example, a friend start the game, and he had played other MMOs, and he started after Somerset. So I watched him do the Somerset main quest, and it was a little like over his head. I thought like he seemed to struggle with the main quest a little bit where you first start off. So I almost think it would be cool if you could, I know you suggested this, but if you could pick which area you wanted to start in. Like, do you want to start in the main zone? Do you want to start in like the new DLC zone? Like, where do you want to start, I guess? Like an easier way to jump around.
Or even, yeah, to jump when you have started in the, like, if you can't. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Makes sense to me.
Like, are you in over your head? I don't think it would like ask you that, obviously, but if you were to get to the point in your quest where you couldn't finish it, I know when I did Elsewhere on stream, I did the main Elsewhere quest on stream, and I had a lot of new players in like my channel watching. They were like, "Wow, you killed that dragon so fast! I can't get past this like boss," and it wasn't challenging to me. But then again, I was on like my PvE tude, and you know, just parsing on the dragon, so it wasn't like a challenge at all. It was just like really? That's and I remember a few new players telling me they couldn't kill one of the dragons, and so they couldn't finish the main quest. And I wondered, yeah,
the first
well,
one.
like they were at the middle of the main quest in Elsewhere, Northern Elsewhere. So I mean, I don't know, but they were brand new players, so. Yeah,
no, that's
you
actually...
only have one bar.
Yeah, no, you don't have anything, do you? I mean, you haven't got like any swap. You haven't got probably hardly any skills. I mean, you've got what, like, and if they're playing a Necro and they're like the new class, like Necro skills are at the beginning. It's just like actually every class
kind of a struggle.
Yeah,
and
a potato.
I mean, there was probably stuff out for Necro by that point, but maybe not for like a brand new character. Probably for like fully, you know, leveled characters or whatever. So.
Yeah. Huh. That's actually very true. I mean, yeah, they do. That's true. They scale to your level there now. But if you don't have any damage, you don't have any like magic or stamina. Like in a couple of abilities, you know, you're screwed for a bit. You kind of just got away because you haven't got any potions or anything, right? Just like Okay. T, how do you feel? Oh, sorry. Start. Go. So
I was gonna say I think I was like more so referring to like maybe boss fights in Quest, and it's been a really long time since I was at a point where I struggled with that kind of stuff, so I'm kind of just referring to like watching a few new players on stream or just like hearing from a few like brand new players, like first week in the game kind of players.
Yeah, exactly, and that's kind of who we're talking about as well, so that's kind of important, very important. T, you have anything to add about that? What do you reckon? How's you feeling? What are you feeling like?
Yeah. So I've heard similar things about boss fights, specifically the slowed in Somerset. New players don't know how to handle enemies that can heal. They just don't like how do they heal my damage, and I can't get their. You know, and for us, it's like interrupt, you know, obviously bop them and they stop healing. But it's a really rough dance because when the game first came out, you started in Coldharbour. You just got thrown right into the cell, and that was where you started. And then you had to go all through the Coldharbour main quest. And there was a lot of negative reaction to that, to the point where they redid a lot of the Cold Harbor stuff right before launch. Like within the last 2 months of launch, they completely reconstructed their tutorial areas.
Yeah, they had to.
And then you used to get stuck on Bleak Rock or wherever, Canarthy's Roost or wherever you start in DC. You had to finish that area before you were allowed to go anywhere else in the game. And people hated that because
you want to explore,
you guys are
right?
playing Skyrim. Yeah, you guys are playing Skyrim right now. Right before the podcast, we were talking about how they just want to do the main story. A lot of Elder Scrolls players are like, bye, and they leave the main story and they just go off and start exploring. It was almost like counterintuitive to what the series was really known for. And so then they went in and started allowing you to go to the one other quest area. So like if you were in Ebonheart Pack, you'd go to Stonefalls instead. And then you could be led to Bleak Rock or do whatever in Stonefalls. And so it's interesting to me when people are troubled when they first start the game. I don't blame them at all. I get it. It's a huge game. But it's always this like push and pull between the MMO audience, I feel, who are very used to being led by quests, and the Elder Scrolls fans base they just want to go do whatever they want to do. They don't want to be held back by like requirements. And ESO's worked really hard since launch to get to that point where there's kind of a happy medium. But you also have to look back and every couple of years and make sure you're still doing the best thing for your players. The game was way smaller back then. Now there's so many DLCs. There's so many starting areas you could potentially be in. It's hard if you're a new player to Google, where do I go next when you first start ESO? Because that changes depending on what you own, what year you're starting in, what chapter you have. Like it's kind of a little bit of a mess. And it's just something that happens as the game gets older. But it is something I think they have to, reevaluate every couple of years to make sure that new player experience is up to par, just like they did at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, it's difficult because it's like, I mean, I can give you some quotes. I went actually, interestingly enough, I went into Ninja614 stream the other day and Bert Ferkins, and I was like, I wonder if anyone, because they were thinking they were at the top of the directory at the time, it was like crazy late, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to sit here and see if anyone talks about new player experience, like new players, like during drops. Oh my god. So many questions, and I'm just like,
all the time.
What? And this
You're at the top of the directory. It's just a flood of new people asking, "What's the best class? What rank do I pick?"
But the main one of the main things that people said, and I can give you some quotes. Listen to this. I'm overwhelmed by the amount of stuff to do in ESO for a start. Well, that's a good thing. It's an MMO. This is the one that got me. I am overwhelmed and I don't know where to start. Like 3 people said that in like 10-15 minutes. It wasn't the same account, by the way. And it was things like, I bought the game, but so confusing to find the main quest and play the game from the beginning. And I'm like, this is like, what, like 3 people in 10 minutes? And this is Twitch. So you like put that in the scale of the actual people. They say they've got 1 million accounts. Okay, 1 million accounts isn't 1 million people playing the game. If you think about like how many people are playing the game, or even just the people on Twitch, and it starts to become like a lot of people over an amount of time, and you're like, I wonder how many actual people don't know where to go and what to do. And then like one of the questions in our Discord that's asked quite consistently, guys, I really like the game, but where do I go? Like, what do I do? Like, I mean, I've just started the quest, but the main quest, but now it's gone. I'm like, well, when you hit level, every 10 levels, you can do this, and you can do the main quest again. Have you tried going to this area? Have you tried Googling that? And it's like, well, why should you Google? You shouldn't have to Google where you do you know what I mean? It's like, I should be able to kind of do the things I wanted. And like, for us, it's easy. Like, but even last night, I was struggling. Because I was like trying to use the zone guide, and I was like, I want to do the main quest here so I can start to do the Cadwell Silver or whatever. And we were getting confused because I knew what I had to do, but like half the people were like, "Oh yeah, you have to go here. It's the different quest marker," and it's like, "Oh yeah, the zone guide doesn't actually give you all the quests in the zone. It just gives you the main ones so you can get them completed." And then it's like, "Oh, so this doesn't even take you to all the quests. It just takes you to a small area on one of the maps where you just kind of do those quests and then you can move on." But it's like, do you want to explore? Like, this is the thing, and I don't know whether or not they got confused with Skyrim as well, because they were like, we want this to appeal, like T was saying, to people who played Skyrim, and then kind of just now they can do what they want, but we want to chuck them in at the latest content because that's going to technically be our best and most technical and most up to date stuff, because we want to show them that stuff so they can be like, whoa, there's this stuff and this looks cool, but now I want to go and check out the rest of the game. And it's like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I think I'm just making a good general comment really about the game, and now people, might want to have some options. But I think what Star said is something good as well at the beginning. How you said it'd be nice to maybe pick where you start, and maybe even starting in the Dark Brotherhood or something, or even in a guild place would be quite a good option as well. I don't know if that would be good, but
I think you kind of run into like the whole issue of what we were talking about earlier, like making everybody happy, and everyone kind of wants different things. Because I know Map Pins I use, which is an add-on, and it shows you like all of the locations, which is really nice. And I would have loved something like that on console, but then that also might have ruined it for some people that like to like discover as they go.
Oh,
so
yeah.
maybe if that could be like so yeah, like I kind of enjoy having it all laid out so I can just see everything and I don't have to discover as I go. But then that would totally ruin it for somebody else that liked different things. So
that's the thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
I think with the quests, I don't know. I think the zone guide's really nice, especially for new players, because that just lays it out and makes it kind of easy to see what you've completed and if you have the sky shards and stuff. Mm-hmm. But I don't know how they could, with the like all of the side quests, there's so many too. I don't know how they could display them all.
It's okay, I'll read that in a sec, Dusty. But yeah, it's to talk about what Star said. Sorry, first, the zone guide is good. Like, it's definitely like a good addition. I feel like they could, they could take it a bit further. But saying that, I don't think there's any MMO that really does.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You mentioned like using Google, but the thing is, from what I know, a lot of MMOs you're tied to wikis sometimes. Like even not.
And they're in the game and built as well.
When I played League, like I always had the League wiki open so I could see like my matchups, and like if I didn't know a champion, I would look it up. So I don't think having to refer to external stuff is really that bad, and that kind of extends to add-ons for us PC players, right? Because like Map Pins is just a very convenient way of just having that wiki page up forever in your game.
Yeah.
I feel like I should clarify something, because so I was originally a console transfer. So when I was talking about Map Pins and having it laid out, I was kind of referring to console because of something that someone said in chat earlier about having some convenient type add-ons in console. I was saying like you would almost need something to toggle that off so it wouldn't ruin it for certain console players.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So that thought was kind of directed towards console. Map Pins was.
Yeah. That's the thing. Exactly. Like you can't. I mean, I guess that's what add-ons are about as well. But something maybe even at the start to say, if players want that kind of thing, would be cool to say, point them in a direction of add-ons. I guess like they're worried that maybe it would there's like all kinds of problems and worries about that. You know, pointing to
Yeah,
mini
they have to be
and
careful with that.
yeah, you can't like because if you point into an add-on that's like bad, like in stealing information and stuff, like that would be awful. So like even just saying it, but then I don't know, it's a difficult thing. There's many people with many experiences, but I do feel like a basic where do you want to start kind of thing would be cool.
Yeah.
Even just to be like, because like Greymoor is so far in, and actually, you know, it's probably one of the DLCs where you're like, you know what? If people wanted to play ESO because they enjoyed Skyrim, at least they're gonna know the area, I guess, to a degree. I mean, there's gonna be, you know, similar stuff. I went to the thousands. I don't know if you've got to this actually, Star, yet, but I'm gonna say it. 1,000 steps the other day. You got that far? You got that far. It's really early.
Yeah, probably. I think so.
You had to walk up a mountain, basically. And it felt quite far. There was a troll there. Anyway, this is a thing that was in, and there was a troll in ESO as well. I went there the other day.
Yeah, that was like the first week I was playing.
Yes.
I did all of that up to the dragon shots.
And that was like a reliving of it. Well, even though like I played ESO afterwards, but like Skyrim afterwards. I walked up the mountain. There's like a blockade there. You can't go up, obviously, because it's like we're not in that area yet. It's just like, okay, this is actually quite cool. So like it actually will be pretty cool for that. I really hope it's, you know, I know it's thousands of years or whatever before Skyrim, but still. It might actually not be too bad in that respect. But I think like people really want to play it in order. Like some kind of order. And I know it's not necessarily like, I think I was talking to someone who comes into the stream quite often yesterday, because I was just like, I wonder how you feel about, you know, what did you play in what order? And I think they played like Somerset, then Morrowind, and like Clockwork City, and I was like, oh god. Or some other DLC in out of order, and they was like, what?
That was me.
Did you play that? Was that you as well? What order did you play?
I played Somerset like before almost anything else, because I just didn't quest before I started streaming.
Oh,
so
right, okay.
I did Somerset first, and then I did Clockwork City, and then I did Morrowind.
Oh. Was it okay though?
I basically just did everything in just the worst, like no order at all. I haven't done Murkmire.
Did it matter?
Coming out next week. I could tell afterwards. I'm like, oh, I was supposed to know who that was. But honestly, I didn't like when I was playing it. I love Somerset. I thought it was great. I still thought the characters were great, even though there were some I didn't know. Got to see Sothosil. All is well.
I got to see Sothosil. Wow. Wow.
I also do quests out of order because I usually get prompted to do them by either a new DLC release or if I want a furnishing or something, like an achievement.
Yeah.
Then I'll go like do a quest line for an achievement furnishing or something, and then I'll be like, oh, I kind of want to do this quest line, so I jump around a lot too. Yeah. Kind of gets confusing, but it's fine.
There's some people who are really passionate about doing everything in order, though.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because they can.
Might be slightly a tiny bit, because I'm like, all the time, I was when I first started, I didn't really care, because I just started Morrowind, and I was like, I love Morrowind, I think it's great. I think it's really good. I like Volifer. I like the whole area. I think it's awesome. The story was cool, really, really cool. And then Clockwork City I did next, and that's my favorite one, just because I like Dwemer stuff as well. And I was just like, you know, it all looks very cool, and robots and shit. I was just like, yeah, this is cool. I like this. This is good. And then it was like, yeah, I think Somerset next for Morrowind. Yeah, it was my favorite. But I at the same time, I did do the main story. But that's because I knew it was there because of beta and stuff. And I was like, I hope this is different. And it was, thankfully, the whole experience. I was like, thank God. Yeah, because it wasn't great when I played it in beta, unfortunately. But yeah, anyway. And thank you for the host, by the way. I'm going to say that, even though it's going to be recorded and everything else. So it's very kind of you. Thank you, Madigon. But yeah, okay, let's move on. Because I probably could do just a podcast on this first thing. Let me see if there's anything else in there. Oh, okay. There was something in a video recently. Who was it? Force Gaming, and he's got like, oh god, so many views on this video. It was a video recently on ESO and getting back into the game, and one of his gripes was about the crafting bag. And this is still my gripe. I've still got there's no one else, I don't think, and I don't want to talk for every streamer or person. I think the crafting bag is actually it's a big thing for ESO Plus, and the main reason, a lot of reasons why a lot of people get it. I still don't agree with it being locked behind it, and I'm still in this place where I'm like, I think it's a bit cheeky. In all honesty, I'm like, this is like I feel like a lot of players, even if it was just like a limited to like 100 materials. So what I'm talking about, if you're listening at home as well, and you're listening on stream and you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, when you start playing ESO and you start to get stuff in your bag, you start to like crafting materials, whatever, and obviously in World of Warcraft, you just chuck it in your bank. You haven't got, there is, when you started playing the game, so it's back from that kind of era of thinking about things, and obviously just, I guess, Skyrim as well. You collect a thing and it stays in your bag. We were talking about how many things we have in our bags before we started the stream, and we have ESO Plus, and that's, so imagine a new player starting the game, hasn't got ESO Plus, and all this stuff just goes into their bag, and it just like their bag is full up, and it's like, good lord. And I actually know a couple of people that put them off the game because they couldn't sort out their inventory, and they didn't know about ESO Plus, and they didn't understand that you could buy this thing to extend your bag. And I'm like, should you have to pay to do that? Like, shouldn't there be like maybe you have like a 50 item limit maybe for something? I don't know how you guys feel, but you might be fine about it. I mean, I'm not that bothered because I would like supporting the game and paying that money, but if you're a new player, like, is it a bit cheeky? I feel, and I feel like a lot of us say, like, creators wise, when we're selling ESO Plus, it's worth it because you can deposit materials in the bank. And I'm like, that's free in so many games and free to play games as well. And I'm like, it's kind of tight, actually. I'm going to get in trouble for saying that, but I think it's my opinion. I don't know. So you tell me if I'm being an arsehole or not, please. I don't know. I might be. I'm not sure.
Okay, I feel like I have a bit of a hot take on this.
Okay.
So, I mean, when the game first came out, we had a lot of stupid ways to get around this, such as making extra characters.
Mm-hmm.
You basically use your bank as your bag space. You would just put all of like stacks, and then you would go to your bank, and you have an add-on that would, because we didn't have it in the game yet, you had to have an add-on to then take everything out of your inventory, and then if you had a stack already in the bank, it would fill it. It would continue filling it. And then if you wanted to get extra hardcore, after console launch, the game went buy to play, and you could just buy a second account so that you can then mail stuff to yourself, and then 30 days it would bounce back, and then you could just keep doing that. I was a provisioner at launch. I loved the cooking part of it, and there were
cool. That's good. Be proud of your cooking heritage, too.
There were so many provisioning items, like way more than there is now. There was like regional items. So like if you were in Morrowind, you would get like Sujama berries and things like that. And so like salt rice pieces, and it was out of control. It was absolutely out of control. There was no way that you could just keep every provisioning item, or else your bank would be maxed out. So they fixed provisioning, thankfully. It's a little bit more bland, but it is fixed. And then the craft bag came out, and it was like, wow, this is really nice. Holy smokes, we have a bank that we can use for once. And here's the thing: if you've been a subscribed player, it was a quality of life change. And so my hot take is that ESO has always been a subscription game, and you can't tell me otherwise. They changed some stuff, but if you want gear, you need to go through dungeons, which ESO Plus provides. You know, all the DLC access. The craft bag is kind of an extension of that, in my opinion. I don't think it's pay to win. I think it is, like I said, if you've been a subscriber since the beginning, the craft bag is a quality of life change. That was like, oh, great, I get something to help my inventory finally. But as I said, I do think they need to go back and make sure that the new player experience is still good. And
that's the thing.
Yeah, and I know, just as you said, a lot of people are turned off by inventory management online, which it can be without craft bag.
It's difficult. Good points, T. Good points. Star, is this something?
I think it would turn a lot of people off to ESO Plus if it was like open to everybody, just because like a lot of times you run those DLC dungeons when you need to farm something, or if you're going for an achievement, so you could like optionally turn it off for a while, or like unless you were doing the trials, then you could like even just buy whichever DLCs you wanted. So I think it would be a huge loss for ESO Plus if they took it away. I think a lot of people subscribe and feel like they're benefiting a lot by having it.
That's fair.
So yeah, but I do understand what you mean for like new players and having trouble with their inventories and like struggling like managing. But I think that kind of comes with time, even though I still haven't learned how to sort mine out. Because we talked about gear hoarding and like just saving all of our gear sets and things. And I have like 13 different characters, and I kind of use a few of them as mules, but it can be really hard if you're playing lots of roles, or you're playing both PvE and PvP, hanging on to all those sets. So you really have to like expand on your inventory. I think the benefits from ESO Plus are really nice. Like that's why I'm always able to easily recommend it to people, just to try it at least.
Oh, that's actually a good point. Yeah. You can add to it. This is a thing I think they could be doing a little bit, because ESO Plus is, pardon me. If you're going to buy crowns, you buy ESO Plus for a start. If you're going to buy that amount of crowns, I suppose. Because you get a couple, you get a bit more. So it is worth a lot. I want people to know in chat and who listen to this that I'm not saying that it's not worth it. It is definitely worth it. It's just I feel like there's a bit of a better way to go from. And this is very much an ESO thing where there's a big jump between one piece of content and the other. So it's very like reminiscent of dungeons as an example. Normal, then vet. There's the no crafting bag thing where you've got no storage other than inventory and bank, to infinite. And with like ESO Plus. So the kind of middle ground I'm talking about is where the more casual player is, who maybe can't spend that much money on ESO Plus, but they're still playing the game. They still might be chucking some crowns here and then. Or the new player who's just like, holy shit, why is there so much stuff in my bag? Damn. Like, please get out. But then again, like you say, then ESO loses money. And then it's like, okay, there's many reasons for and against. And it's like, it could be, and I like something that Zoob said as well. What about craft bag mini for free? Store 2k wood, like ingots and stuff. Might be a lot. Or if you're saying 2,000 items, maybe, and that might be quite a lot. But even just a taster of like 20, like of this wood or whatever, just as like a beginning thing. It's like you can extend this to infinite if you buy ESO Plus. I think there's just a tiny little bit of a gap where I'm just like, that would be cool.
I see what you're saying. Kind of like with the transmute stones, you can hold on to 100 if you're like not ESO Plus, but then if you're ESO Plus, you can hold on to like 200.
Exactly.
Kind of, but with the craft bag, so you have like a limited space. I think that would be really nice for like new players. I don't know if they'd ever do it, but it would be probably nice to at least tempt them if they got really into crafting to want to like expand on their craft bag. But
I definitely feel a bit scummy when I say it, and it's so there's something about me where I feel like it's not worth, but where if I think it's a gut feeling for me when I say to people, well, you know, it's worth it because you get infinite, you know, depository of stuff. I'm like, that's worth it, but you just can't do that at all if you haven't got it. And I'm like, and then T's like, you know, well, this game, it feels to me like it is just a subscribed game. Like if you're playing it a lot, you should be subscribed. And I think a majority of people are, but I think there are also a lot of people who aren't as well. But, you know, I understand what he's saying. So it's like, it's difficult. This is an interesting conversation to have, especially seeing what people think.
I do think that there's a bit of a new dynamic now that you can buy DLCs. So one of the big parts of ESO Plus, besides the craft bag, is you have access to the DLCs. And now people can buy that with gold. And I do know some friends who don't do ESO Plus anymore, and they just buy expansions with gold. So to me, the craft bag is a solution to a pain in the butt issue of hoarding crafting nodes and things like that. But I do think it's important, unless we do want to talk about you know, subscription models that are not as fair. Maddie mentioned SWTOR. I played SWTOR for exactly. Oh please. Yeah, exactly. I played
SWTOR you want me to kill everyone?
Oh, Jesus Christ!
I played it for a week, and I couldn't even like type in chat. I was like, "What is this?" And like, this isn't free. This is I'm being held hostage, and I feel like maybe having that like second little step of like, oh well, you kind of get a crafting bag, but not really. That's gonna make people be like, oh, they're just trying to get me to, you know, get ESO Plus. So I do think you have to be really careful.
I might have to quit the podcast. You just upset me massively by talking about it. I raged. That's the only time I've ever rage quit a game on stream and uninstalled it on stream. Do you know why? Because I literally was PvPing, having an epic time. Press PvP. You must pay blah 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 to continue your PvP games. You have done 5 in a week. A week. What? They lost like 5 minutes. You have to pay. You have to pay to play them.
I didn't stay long enough to even know about this. This is awful.
It's like, yeah,
I don't like it.
I knew that stuff that you did, but I was like, yeah, there's a lot more as you go on. Like, you can play a lot of the story for free, and I understand that you have to make money, but damn, do they want to make money? Yeah. They're just like, they're never gonna close it because it's Star Wars, right? And it's like ESO, like they could do anything. I don't think they would ever close. Obviously, it's not going to close. It's doing ridiculously well. But it's like those IPs, a Lord of the Rings is still going. You know, it's like there's loads of stuff where they're just like, we can't close this.
Behind them.
Oh, exactly. There's money behind them. They can just keep going. And like, I don't know the specifics of Lord of the Rings. But yeah, that's disgusting. I could do a podcast on just that one experience, and it was just the worst. Yikes. My God.
Yeah, I think ESO could do stuff that was, you know, that bad, but they try really hard. Like they've been trying pretty hard to keep things fair.
Not shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, exactly. I love how I tell other people to not swear, and then I swear on these podcasts. Just like, yeah, well done, you're doing really well. Although Star and T don't swear, so I didn't have to warn them, or much, as far as I know. Heck might be the wherever we go.
Yeah, it's kind of more of just like a pay for convenience kind of thing, and like I guess that new player thing that we were talking about, that doesn't last forever. It lasts for like a short period of time. So like, you know. Eventually, sure by the point they get
for a month,
yeah,
it's time to start playing the game. Really, I think as well. There should really be a massive push at that point in time. I'm going to start moving this on because damn, although that was almost a different subject, I guess to a degree. Is there anything else you guys want to add before I start going on to something else?
I think ESO does a really good job with like the whole pay for convenience thing instead of like a pay to win thing. I think like a lot of other games, not a lot of other games, but from what I've heard, like other games will have like those pay to win aspects, and sometimes people will say, "Oh, well, that's pay to win," and I always have to kind of correct them, or not like correct them, but give my opinion on it in chat. I'm just like, I don't really think that's like pay to win. So I think ESO does a good job with that. I'm always pretty honest about talking about the subscription and all the stuff you get. I feel like you get a ton of stuff. If you're gonna buy crowns, you might as well get the subscription because you get them for free. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
I think
definitely
they do a
worth
good
it.
job.
I agree with the worth. It is just literally, I think, just the little bit of a bridge, which is something, like I said, I feel is kind of an issue. But yeah, definitely worth it, especially like say for crowns and the DLC, and yeah, it is a good thing. If you're a new player, go and buy it. Definitely worth. Okay. I almost contradicted myself completely there, but hey ho. Doesn't matter. Oh, I was looking at the store the other day. This is just kind of some sweeping stuff while we're talking about ESO Plus, but like more bundles, things like DLC bundles, like giving you, like, you know, if there's some kind of order in terms of, and this counts as chapters, there might be a way of instructing people to maybe, you know, you've got Greymoor, but you haven't got this, that, the other. You know, you might want to play this beforehand. I don't know, sure how much of a good idea that is. I don't know. Do you reckon like DLC bundles is a good idea? Have they done this in the past? I don't know.
There's one bundle, at least is it War and Glory? I can't remember what it's called now, because I don't actually own any of them on PC. I just have the ESO Plus subscription. But there's one bundle, and I can't remember exactly what it comes with, but it's like 4 things.
Okay. What, 4 DLCs?
I'd have to look at it. I'm not sure. It's hard when people come in and they ask, like, as a new player, what DLC should I buy? I'm buying the game. If they don't want ESO Plus, because it's so different based on like what kind of experience you want to have in game. You know, there's so many different DLCs of different things.
Okay, I found it. It's called Guilds and Glory, the 4 DLC Mega Pack.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to figure out what is in here.
They said Thieves Guild, Rothgar, so Ursinium, Dark Brotherhood, and Imperial City. But Imperial City is now free.
Yeah, Imperial City.
Anyway, so.
Yeah.
Which I think was a really good idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
They should probably reconsider this pack.
Okay. It was just a random aside.
It has a free DLC in it already.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I mean,
it seems a little.
Still, I mean, maybe it came out just before as well, and it was just, they were just like, we're gonna test this out, and just before we give it to them for free. I don't know. Random. Okay, I'm gonna just move us on because yeah, I was just thinking the other day. I was like, okay, well, whatever. Okay, I'm gonna move on completely from that whole DLC business because there's loads of stuff, and I just looked at the list and I'm like, there's some stuff I really want to talk about down here. Ooh, I was thinking, I'm not sure how much you guys did. I know you guys did a lot of oh my god, Mid-Year Mayhem, the PvP event recently, Cyrodiil. And some people said something about the fact that maybe it'd be cool to have some BG events. I know like BGs are in like the Mayhem event as well. But people were saying, you know, what do you reckon there'll be a cool event that you could have for like just Battlegrounds? Or is it like just this small area which is just like, not that many people playing it? Do we need an event for that? Would people do that event to get tickets for a mount? Oh, God.
I think it would be cool to see another PvP event, just to have another PvP event, not even necessarily because like all of those players are wanting the tickets and things. Because I know, for example, my boyfriend, like, he was interested in PvP. He used to PvP a lot. He did a bunch of the events with me, but he never even like collected any of the things from the event store. Like he doesn't care about the mounts or anything like that. He just enjoys PvP events. So just to have another one would be nice. Like whatever it was, even if it were like double Make Your Mayhem or something related to that, it would be cool. Because there's only 2 a year. There's Imperial City and then Make Your Mayhem. So I think that would be nice. And not even necessarily because of the event ticket stuff or the mounts and things, but just to give that player base another thing to look forward to
Some
in the year.
consideration, yeah.
Yeah.
Love.
Especially since Mid-Year Mayhem is not mid-year anymore. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's
I wish they would rename it. It's a cool name, but we've had 2 years in a row where it's been in January, and it's a little awkward to be like, "Hey guys, it's Mid-Year Mayhem. Happy New Year."
I think it's because it's the midpoint of a year, or like where they're like,
no, it used to be in the summer, and it was
I know.
amazing
It's
because
still in the summer, isn't it?
like
as well.
like
It was last.
it got canceled.
Oh, it
last
got cancelled last year, but they were meant to have it last year as well.
Yeah,
Mid-year in Tamriel, there you go. Is there a law thing about that? I don't know.
No.
I was just like, mid-year is like a 6-month thing, and if they put it every 6 months, then they can just say, oh well, mid-year is like half a year is like 6 months.
I would be happy
so.
with that. Let's do it every 6 months. That'd be cool.
I mean, they
I
kind of
agree with Star on that.
yeah, they kind of did-ish. I think they did it because they did have 2 in a row where it was 6 months, but then the summer one broke.
It was when after Somerset came out, and then they
right,
did
okay.
Mid-Year Mayhem in January of last year, or not last
Yeah.
year, the year.
Yeah.
And
They
then
did
we didn't get one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they
Stuff-
skipped
stuff
the
like
one in
that.
the summertime, and we had the one in January.
And I guess there's the Imperial event, which I guess people are like, oh, that's another kind of PvP event, even though it's PvE, PvP. It's PvE.
I wish we did. I wish we had more Imperial City events because it's really fun when there's a lot of people in there.
Dude,
It's
Mhm.
ridiculous.
Because no one goes there otherwise, I guess. Well, unless they need stuff. Majority of
It would
players.
be really cool to just have like a couple double 12-hour weekends, you know, just like a few
Yeah.
throughout the year. I know-
Incentive.
yeah, like other games do things like that.
Or one a
Dead by
month
Daylight,
even.
I play. They do like double BP, which is like their currency or whatever. So they'll have like a double BP every couple months, and then like the weekends, like a big thing. That would be cool for Imperial City, I think, especially since the DLC is free, so
Mm,
anybody can do it too.
That's such a good point. Having more of that stuff, like little focuses on different parts of the game which have currency which actually matter, or could be farmed a little bit more. Even if you just did it once a month, just like a day on the weekend, like, you know, Saturday, Telvar, farm your arse off Saturday or whatever. That's probably not a good name. for
Or
it.
even in Cyrodiil, like extra AP or something. That would be
Yeah.
really cool.
Even if it
Mhm.
was just one weekend a month, like, or even just holidays,
Yeah.
you know, like we've got drops and AP farm, you know, come get a shed load of loot, basically. I don't know. It does feel like something could be done there. Again, I don't know the implications of that and whether or not, you know, people would be pissed. And do you really want to have more? As long as they don't stick more event tickets for berries in the game, I'll be happy. I think that's a personal thing. I don't know. We'll probably get to that in a minute.
Yeah, but I think actually that might be a good idea. Like, have some events that aren't tied to the tickets. I think people would feel less hostile towards it. Because, like,
Mhm.
with Mid-Year Mayhem, I saw so many people who were like, I went into Cyrodiil and I went to town and I walked up to an NPC without hiding and then I got ganked. And I'm like, okay, first off, don't, like, I kept trying to tell people when I was like, when you go up to NPC, hide and don't read the text. Just press 1 because it'll hit the first selection of the quest dialogue and just hit 1 like crazy, and then you at least you know you got your quest done.
Yeah.
And on Twitter, somebody mentioned you can switch campaigns. If somebody's camping a town, you can switch campaigns and go to that town instead and turn it in there, where hopefully there's nobody there camping. So but I think people would have probably been less hostile towards like Mid-Year Mayhem if maybe there was like like I said, maybe weekends or something where there was AP but no tickets. Just forget about the tickets. We don't need it. Like, just the AP is enough. It's fine.
Yeah, I agree with that because, like, I remember I was streaming a bit during Mid-Year Mayhem, and I really enjoy PvP. Like, that was what I mainly used to stream for a long period of time. So, like, going back into it, I was really excited about it, and then, like, a lot of people were coming in, not a lot, but there was, like, a good amount of people that were pretty upset with the event, and they were like, oh, I'm pressured to, like, go in because I need event tickets, and just not really happy with the event, didn't want to participate in it, and felt, like, forced to. Even though they weren't being forced to, but like they felt forced to because they wanted the berries or wanted the weapon motifs or like whatever there was. I think it was like an outfit style.
Tickets?
Yeah, it was like 3 per day.
And see, that's rough because there's a lot of events that are you need the DLCs, and so Mid-Year Mayhem was one of those events that anyone could get those tickets, and they really kind of loaded a lot of tickets onto that event. So I can see why people are frustrated. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Like, just I tried to help and like take people in and get some tickets every day, and then they could leave if they want.
I mean, we can talk about tickets if you want for a minute, since we're kind of mentioning it. I mean, the event tickets. I think generally, I was gonna say Cyclone, a ray of positivity and sunshine. I love you, man. But, like, I kind of, when they first came out, I was like, this is cool. I actually, I really did furiously grab them all. I mean, I still, even to now, if I can possibly log in and do a thing, if it's not mind-numbingly boring, I will go and do it. Like even Mid-Year Mayhem, even though I PvP, I didn't do it this time round. And it's like, I don't mind this event, but I feel like you're almost, and I understand, like, I had a bash at, like, whoever invented daily quests in the MMO world. I really wish they hadn't. In the most polite way possible, of course, in my way. And I think there's a clip somewhere. And maybe don't post that. It was very respectable. And I'm just like, I'm kind of done with it, personally. I think it's cool. I think a majority of people probably fine with it. I don't know how you guys feel. But I really feel like a lot of the events are really dull and really repetitive and really put me off, even to the point of logging in. And I know that sounds dramatic, but I was just like, if I log in, I have to go do this. And I know it's like, and it's weird because I'm literally studying as a mental health counselor, and I know like this is a thing, and I'm just like, why do I need this thing? Why do I need this? I don't need this thing. I don't need to. I can just play whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. But there's some reason where I'm just like, I should probably do this. Sounds ridiculous, right? I don't know. But how do you guys feel about these events? So what do you about the tickets and stuff? Are they good? Are they fine? Just keep going with these mounts? Could they be done differently? Could it be more fun? I don't know. To coerce people.
I think the events get grindy, not even just because of the event tickets, but like, like New Life Festival, there's the writs and the new outfit styles and stuff. So you end up doing a bunch, which actually the drop rates seemed a lot better this year. So they weren't that bad for me, at least. I don't know if that was for everybody, but for me, I was getting a lot of writs and stuff. So I'm not sure if they upped the drop rate, which was nice from my perspective. But the event tickets, I kind of care less now. It just depends on if there's something in the store, or I don't know. I like the little pets. Like, I collect all of the Indrik pets. I don't even care about the mounts as much. I definitely could see where people would get burned out because the events never change. They're always the same. And then T made a good point too about the DLCs and a lot of the events going around the DLCs, and then people that don't have them can't, like, they're forced to kind of participate in certain events that they might not enjoy, like PvP events and stuff. That was actually something I didn't think about, but that's a really good point.
That is a good point.
I wonder, if they should do a free, like an ESO plus. Well, they do ESO plus weekends, and usually I think they line them up with events if they do them.
For a few
don't
days, I
know.
think. I think Dark Brotherhood they
Yeah.
did it, didn't they? Maybe.
But it's not the
Yeah,
whole
it's like the
time.
weekend. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like Friday,
Yeah.
Saturday, Sunday. They get to, and that's if they have the game updated. You know, like some people might not have
Mhm.
the game ready to go, and yeah, it can be a little bit of a
Or
mess.
be busy, like, you know, you have
Yeah.
real life stuff going on. I think like streaming makes it a little bit easier because I'm like talking to chat as I'm doing some of the quests and stuff, so it's kind of not maybe as draining as if I were doing it off stream. I think if I were doing it off stream, I just wouldn't want to do it at all, probably.
Yeah.
Like some of the events anyway. Some of the repetitive quest events where you just do the same quest over and over again every day
Yeah.
on multiple characters. New Life is kind of what's in my head, but
Yeah. Absolutely. And that point, you know, you're reiterating what T said about the DLC is like, yeah, that's a little bit of a lock for a bit to get those tickets, and it's like another reason to get ESO. It's like plus, sorry. At least they do give you a little bit of a chance. I think, yeah, they do. Yeah, 3 or 4 days. Okay, during the event sometimes. Yeah, it's not every time.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. And then it's like, when are they going to do that? And is it the same time every year? I really have this thing about playing content. It's just mind-numbingly boring to get something which I enjoy doing, like in like a skin. It's just been MMO practice for flipping ages, where I'm just like, this is kind of just normal, and we accept it because it's just because we'll be like, well, this is just a thing that MMOs do, and I'm like, well, why? why is this? It's like, for new players, like when I started like a year or so ago, doing these events was fine, but I started to go around now where I'm doing them for the second time, and I'm like, damn. Is there nothing else that could be added to this? But then they had the opal skins, and then I was like, at least there's that. And they're pretty good.
I was about to say, so
that was cool. Yeah,
added stuff besides the feathers and the berries.
Yeah.
That I think is a huge step, because that kind of puts it in the same realm as like I just did the Final Fantasy Valentine's Day thing yesterday, and you have to do a quest and you get these little like chocolate boxes, and then you switch the chocolate boxes for like outfit stuff or like little emotes or something. So with ESO, it was kind of like we were just doing, you know, a grind for whatever, but now we're having the Murkmire event, and you can get that pet, for example, that's relevant to the event. There's like a little booger pet that you can get.
Oh, really?
And then they've had, yeah.
The booger pet? The what? Sorry?
There's a booger pet, yes.
Is it a glob? It's literally a green glob?
Yeah.
A globule?
But it's relevant to Murkmire.
Yeah, absolutely is.
So it at least makes sense, I guess, instead of just getting Indrik after Indrik and Barry. Because there's a certain point where you're just not even getting rewards. You're just collecting rewards to eventually get a reward, and it just doesn't feel good at all. But at least with Murkmire, it's like, oh, we get a pet at the end. It's something to work towards.
Yeah, I think like more unique rewards are really fun and cool, and especially if they tie into like events, even holidays. And I know they kind of have to probably you know, go based on game and lore and connections to the in-game things instead of like outside world things, but yeah, I think that's cool.
Yeah, no, that is good. Having that little, I just saw it. How did I miss that? I knew everything else about it. But yeah, you get the bogey monster thing, whatever it's called. I'm English.
For Jester Festival last year, they added new achievements, didn't they? I'm pretty sure those were new last year, right?
Maybe.
They add a couple in some events.
A few. Yeah.
Like,
I thought some of those were cool. Like, I liked some of the titles and stuff. I actually got all of them. I was making a video, so I did it for a YouTube video, but then I also ended up really liking there's like Tin Soldier and Empire. A lot of people wanted those titles for Jester Festival, and they were fun achievements. So I think things like that are kind of cool to add into events, like new achievements. A lot of people are achievement hunters, so I don't know.
Okay.
Something like an idea for events, something interesting. If you could get a cool title or something new.
When is I'm just okay. Reader just links me events, and they're not actually the same time every year. By the looks of things, like Morrowind event. All these events happen at different times of the year. They actually swap them around.
Yeah.
I didn't even
It
realize
almost
that.
never happen when the DLC comes out, or like the anniversary of the DLC.
Because Murkmire is late because of because of different things didn't happen, because that came out late in the year, didn't it?
They
Yeah,
just sort of
just
squish
Q4.
events where they can find a spot.
Yeah. Okay. I guess that's not too bad of a thing. But yeah, I mean, the unique reward stuff, I mean, the Opal stuff was the first time where I was like, oh, there's actually some kind of shiny armor and like weapon skins that I kind of want, even just with like a little glow and stuff. And I was like, this was during Undaunted? Was it Undaunted? Or was it Special Dungeon?
It was,
Yeah, I think it was Undaunted, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, because I remember doing dungeons.
Undaunted.
And I was like, yes, you know what I do every day, or what I do kind of consistent when I play the game, and it's really fun, fucking dungeons. Or even just like, you know, if you're doing quests, like anything you normally play in the game, you just get rewarded extra for that, for the thing you do when you do these events. And I know that is very, you know, everyone does a load of stuff and that's a lot of work. But like, even if it was just like a daily dungeon, you get these tickets for that. It's like, and it would just encourage people to just go into the game again and just play the game they want to play the stuff they want to play, rather than kind of forcing them into these places where they don't want to go. And then it's like, and then people have the argument that, you know, you don't have to do the thing, you know, you don't have to. You've got a choice. It's like, what fucking choice do I have? The horse is see-through. It looks like a ghost. What do you want me to do? Like, I'm not gonna not get the thing, you know. It's like I still have to get the thing. I'm gonna feel really good at the end, but I still have to do this thing that I really don't like doing. And everyone thinks it, and everyone's just like, oh well, you don't have to do it, you know, it's optional. It's just like, yes, I fucking do. Okay. Everyone thinks it. Do not lie, chat. Do not lie. And if you guys think differently, that's fine. But
No, the ghost mounts have those cool echoes.
I mean,
Makes them much more enticing.
do you know what I mean, though? Like, if you want the thing, you're gonna do some mundane bollocks, like we do in life, to get the thing. It's just
Yeah.
the same. It's just like, I know it's a very general statement, but I don't know.
Everyone has events that they like better than others. Like, I enjoy Undaunted event a
Yeah.
lot more because it's like with friends and you're like doing dungeons and stuff. And I think 2 years ago they did Undaunted, and you got a special box on like each character.
Yeah.
And
It's
there were
daily.
like pets and stuff.
Oh, really?
That felt kind of
Oh.
grindy. I remember having fun like opening the boxes and seeing if I got a pet or something. And then they kind of were like, oh yeah, you could get a house, which I never got a house. I basically only got pets, but still all of the pets were pretty neat that they put in the boxes. And
Mm.
I don't know, do you remember that, T?
Yeah. You got these like cool little like, I guess like wintry themed pets that you could get. And man, I really wanted one, but I was way too lazy to grind dungeons to have a good chance at getting them. But it was nice. The only problem is Undaunted usually breaks the servers.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully not in the
3
future.
days this time.
We'll see if hopefully they don't do it in the future.
Yeah, this one went really well. Like the
Yeah.
fact that grouping didn't explode at any point in time during.
It did for
the
PvP
event.
though, didn't it? I think it did for PvP.
Did it break?
Yeah. Well, I think
can't-
PvP is permanently broken, to be fair. Or
Has-
BGs are anyway. They've got a bit better recently.
Oh, BGs. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't really do BGs. I'm gonna try after they get rid of the group
The green
queuing thing.
Yeah, that's something we
Yeah,
should
I'm gonna
kind of
start trying it.
experiment.
But yeah. That oh, you mentioned a BG event. That would definitely be my concern over a BG event. know who plays BGs is like, the queue is broken, the queue is broken, the queue
Yeah.
is broken.
Well,
I'm like,
hopefully,
"Ah."
like you say, that's going to be a fix, guys. So we'll see.
Yeah, I see that a lot. The BGs are broken.
That's my major complaint. It's the one point of the part of the game which I could play quite endlessly happily if it wasn't just like,
Mhm.
oh, cool, I won that
More-
game. And you start looking at the rest of the people who are in the match, and you're like, oh, we were 4 and the other 2 teams were 2. Really? And we won by like a narrow margin. It's like, yeah, okay, whoops. Oh well, I guess I won the game anyway. But yeah, kind of sucks. Okay, gonna move on. Events, I like them. I like their inception, but I think something could be done to, just my own personal opinion, to just kind of, I don't know, increase the joy of them a little bit more. But that's my own personal opinion, and I think, you know, there are many people who maybe enjoy doing that stuff, and I want the cool things, but I want to do stuff that I enjoy. You know.
I think it would be cool if there was just like more unique events.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
a
or
lot of
unique,
them are
yeah.
just like you said, recycled dailies, and they feel a little bit heartless, if that makes sense. I don't know how else to explain it.
They feel a
I
little
just
bit.
like it if
I know what you mean. I can't think of the words. Yeah, they're just empty. They're just like, you know, you do the same thing.
Detached.
Yeah, you are detached because you're just like in this flipping off switch mode where you're just like automatic mode. Sorry, where you're just like, you know, I'm gonna go kill, you know, the 3 giants again and get their toe or something. I don't know.
oh boy.
I'm really
So
looking forward to that.
excited.
That's gonna take me like 10 minutes to
The
do.
third
because,
giant hype.
yeah, I'm
I
just
don't
like,
care after
See-
the first time. I just don't care.
I didn't feel that way at all. Like, I don't feel that way at all with Make Your Mayhem, though, or like Imperial City. And I'm not sure, like, I know
Same.
those are PvP events, but I think they're more interactive just because I
Oh,
don't
they're
know.
with other people.
I
as
don't know how
well.
you could do that with like the regular quests. Yeah, you're with other
But
people
that's
too.
why with Undaunted is good, you know, because at least you
Mhm.
group up with friends and you do a thing together. You do the MMO, you know, you play the
Yeah.
massively
Good
multiplayer online
point.
game, and it's like whereas
That's
like
a really good point.
well, that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, that's the crux of it. Like whereas with these events where you just do the solo quests, the solo stuff, and yeah, cool, you want to play ESO for the solo stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not playing with people. You're competing with you. If anything, you're kind of running around against
yeah, you
them
gotta
at
like
times.
fight for those mobs. Those
Yeah.
little stupid mobs come up and you're like, everyone has their AoEs on the ground and they're praying that the mobs yellow when they.
Yeah, I mean, I
It's
do that on
dead
stream. I become the biggest arsehole.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
yeah, just like ult.
fuck you, man. This
Drop
thing is
the
mine.
ult.
Yeah, it's so true. And you're just like, even though, you know, if I get one hit on it, like, I'm still, and I actually do that. I actually hit the thing once and I'll be jumping around it for a bit. Just to try and get the guy to just to be like, you know, there's a thing here. It might not come back for a while. Come kill it so you can get your event tickets done because this is painful. And then, and then they might come over and then I do feel slightly bad. So I'm not a complete arsehole. But, you know, sometimes.
You're gonna get that last hit.
Yeah, you got to get it, you know, and you know, throwing just AOE festival everywhere. Like these people randomly running around, just like aimlessly, just like, where is that beetle? Oh my god! And just remember that for like the winter event, the recent one.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was referring to.
Yeah,
Those
I knew you were.
Come on. Jesus.
Amazing.
I just always skip that quest, I throw it away. And
It's not as bad as it
something
used to
else.
be because they actually
Yeah.
spawn quicker now, but like it is still pretty bad.
They made some of them better. Like you didn't have to get as many. Because
Yeah.
the respawn rates were so annoying
Wasn't
last
that the
year.
mammoth one? Was that the mammoth one? Maybe for some reason I remember
For
that
me,
one.
it was one of the New Life quests, the one where you had to kill the wasp and the wolves. And not this year. This year was fine.
Yeah,
but the
yeah,
year
yeah.
before,
That was
I
bad.
couldn't find it. I had to like run across the map to find them.
Oh yeah, the
wasp.
wolves. I remember just going on like an adventure trying to figure out where to go because nothing was there, obviously, because they were all dead.
Mhm.
So
Just playing at prime time, so there's so many people.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh god,
Oh,
I'm giving
sad.
myself nightmares during the day right now, so I'm gonna move us on. Okay. So, and this is a little bit of a forward thinking towards Greymore, actually. In terms of vampire line, and this was just an idea. This was just some ideas, really, in I guess in keeping with Skyrim. And if you've played Skyrim, and this is going to be a tiny little bit of a spoiler for Stardance, I did mention this before, and she seems okay with it, and I hope it doesn't wreck anything. I'm going to be very vague about this, because we're playing both at the moment, Skyrim, and like no spoil, like we're really enjoying it. So it's been fun so far. But there's something about like the vampire line and maybe bringing it in a little bit more line with Skyrim, where there's actually a lot that they could do in terms of, and actually I'm going to compare it to other stuff in ESO because then I won't ruin it. Aha, yes, I found a way.
That works.
Yes. Okay, so things like a transform might be cool because reasons. Things like, tanking abilities might be cool because reasons. Like, make the line more useful. Like, rather than just like, it is useful, obviously, Magicka and stuff like that, but more like active. Like a werewolf, at least the werewolf, is damage, I guess, to a degree, and it's fun and good in PvP. I'm not sure anymore. I still play it because it's fun. But yeah, something where it's a bit more active. You guys got any ideas? Just quick, like, have you got any thoughts about what they could do with Greymore Vampire to make it more fun? Obviously, they got their own stuff, and this is more of an idea. This is more of an improvement that they're working on or have finished, and they're going to be bringing it out this year. But like, you could have some stuff which would be on Vampire. Is there any ideas you guys have? Like, have I just ruined it by saying mine? I don't know.
No, I think right now people only pretty much use the Vampire skill line for the passives, like the regen, for increased, resources. So something added to that would be cool. My only problem with Vampire, and some people aren't gonna like this, I know this is probably not like, well, I know a lot of people don't like how Vampire makes their character look, and then people will tell me, oh, you can just put a skin over it, which is what I do. I like have a skin on my vampires. It would be nice to just be able to cover it. I don't know. And I know people have told me Scalecaller skin, you can cover it.
Yeah.
But if it's something that's like so OP that you kind of have to have Vampire, I don't think I'd be in favor for it. Just because I already don't really like having Vampire on my characters. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah,
but,
no, it does.
Yeah.
It does make sense. But like an option where you can hide the look.
Yeah, kind of like you can hide your helmet.
Please.
But I know that would ruin it for some people, but for other players that don't really, that doesn't affect them, that would be nice.
Stardust isn't a fan of Twilight then?
No.
Not a fan.
She doesn't sparkle.
Doesn't sparkle. There you go. See? Wow. We know now. I know what you mean. T? What do you think?
Oh, please let us hide the vampire skin.
I love that you do.
It is not fair that like werewolves run around all willy-nilly. They have no like physical appearance change until they use their ability, right?
Yeah.
But with vampires,
they should get hairy hands or something, right?
Go back. No.
Is that what you're talking about?
No.
That could be really bad, actually.
That's the way it should be. That's the way it should be, right? So,
that's what he said. He said
like,
that.
Werewolves can hide in plain sight.
Right.
I don't think it would be the worst if there was some sort of like visual indication for vampires,
cool.
like maybe an eye color change or something like that. But it is so dramatic that no matter what, like if you're Khajiit and you have pure black fur, your Khajiit turns into a white Khajiit. Like there is
white fur, really?
Yes.
I did not actually know that.
No matter what.
That's interesting. Actually, what with no even like even if you've got a skin on there like a pattern, does the pattern change as well, or
the pattern you can barely tell is there?
Right, I did not know that. Interesting.
Yeah.
Your hair.
And
that's weird.
It just completely washes them out.
Yeah.
And I don't have it on my Khajiit. I have it on my healers, but I don't like how it looks on them either.
It's
I
just
wouldn't.
like
I would
that.
be fine with eye color, but
Right.
I
Huh.
feel like that's subtle enough, but like with Dunmer, they just turn into like, oh god, they look like death. Like vampire Dunmer are horrifying. It's really bad. So
It's gonna be the opposite
I
now,
just
though,
think-
isn't it? Like if you are heavy into vampire, you're gonna be more. I think they've done it like Skyrim, like in that way, where if you're, I can't remember actually, or if is it that way? I can't remember. If you're less fed, so at the moment, if you're level 4 in ESO, you are very pale, or is it the other way around?
it doesn't matter, honestly. Like if you're at like 1, you still look
Slightly
disgusting
pale.
and
Wow. Okay,
ill.
T.
Yeah, it
T
just
doesn't like
gets
any race
worse.
in the game.
It
I didn't-
just gets worse. It just gets worse from that point. So like you look ugly and then you look more ugly and then you look like you've been on the ground for like 3 months and then you just drink a bloody Mara because the last one, like, no, just don't do it.
yeah. And I
Never
think there's
know.
like a few arguments people will make. Like they'll say, "Oh, well, you don't have to go vamp. You can just like lose out on those resources." But that's not really fair to somebody that wants to min max. Like if you are in a serious like raid group or whatever, you want to have like you have to have those. Not that you
Yeah.
have to, but you want to be the best you can be. Then that's kind of not fair. So. And then there's the skin argument. Just put a skin on, and like I have enough skins to where I could put that on my character. But I like how she looks without it.
Star,
so
it's an
what if I
MMO.
want to use it.
This is the thing. This is the thing. You still want to look good. Everyone wants to look good in an MMO, even if they want to make their
Scrolls
character.
online.
It's the same in Guild Wars 2 as well. It's the same in every MMO. Like even if your character looks really, really odd, you still made effort to make it look like that. You know, it's a thing. And Star and T just don't want to have really pale characters that look awful.
I'm
Or-
still mourning my Mag Warden. I spent so much time on her.
I'm warning
And she just
her.
looks like death.
Star hasn't picked her up
like,
since.
Look, you're
I'm
dead,
not-
which I guess is true.
I've got the Opal
Yeah.
skin, and I've all got skins on all my characters. So I'm like, I actually don't know what they look like anymore. So I think I've kind of forgotten. That's actually a good point.
Take the skin off and then be like, oh no. Like,
I'll do that after this.
is-
We'll check. We'll
mistakes
check my
have been
characters.
made.
All right, I'll do it.
Look at them in the sunlight so you can get a really good look.
You want them to die? That's like Star just wants to kill all my characters. Okay, fine. That's
Well,
what
if we're not
happens.
following that rule, then we could totally cover it up.
Exactly. Thank you. We're not following the sun
right,
rule,
okay.
then why
That's
do
true.
we have to look that way?
That's true. Okay, that was the
my
main.
head.
That was the main thing for Vampire out of anything. I love it. I can't remember which way it's going to be for Greymore, but hopefully, maybe there might be an option where you can turn it
I
off.
love
turn it
how
on.
we were talking about like what's gonna come to the vampire skill line, but we're just concerned with like,
I know.
oh, can you make it
I
so
know.
we can cover it up?
It's
I
just-
won't use it. That's
Yeah.
just the long and short of it. I won't use it if you have to look like death.
Okay, so main thing option: change the look of it when you can. I
Or
do
just give a skin out. Give a skin out when
Yeah,
you hit
actually,
10.
that's-
Vampire.
actually a
That's all
really
it
good
takes.
idea though. Like having a vampire skin, like a proper skin, which changes dependent on things. That's actually
Yeah,
not
I'll
a
do a
bad idea.
quest for it. I'll do whatever I have to
Or
do.
like I guess maybe like a quote unquote tattoo. So that people can still use their skins
Right.
on top of the vampire one.
Yeah. I like
like
it.
a disguise. I like it.
Yeah.
Fair. Seems good. Right, let's get into it right now as well. Dungeons and Trials. Ooh, and it may have been with one of you two. I can't remember. I feel like I've had this conversation with both of you at different times, which is going to be something we can get into in a minute. Dungeons and Trials. I'm still not sure. This could be a massive conversation, so I'm going to talk about it very briefly. But do you guys feel that there is a good middle ground to be had between a normal and a vet dungeon? Is there something they could do there? Or is it just like, not really that bothered? Does it matter? Is it difficult? Is it really that difficult? Is normal too easy? I don't know.
I think it would be weird. I think it would be really hard to do because there's already the hard modes with both vet and the trials, like vet dungeons and the trials.
Mhm.
So if you put in like another middle ground, I think it would just create more separation where people already have a hard time putting together groups for veteran. Maybe increasing the difficulty for some of the normal content or the normal DLC content. I don't know if that would be a better solution than completely making another level. Yeah, I don't know. That's hard.
Team?
This is such a difficult question to
Mhm.
answer because there's kind of like we were talking about how there's the MMO and Elder Scrolls fan bases. You can kind of apply that to the dungeon experience. There's a lot of people who just want to play single player. They have no idea like what their build is. They might not even have like a 5-piece set on their character, and they're like, oh boy, I can't wait to go into a dungeon. And they go in and they're like, oh, a new story to tell. And they're listening to the dialogue, and they come out of the dialogue and there's no one to be found because they're already at the first boss, and like they're getting vote kicked out of the group because they're still at the beginning of the dungeon. And it's like, I just imagine these poor new blitz have no idea what's going on and are very confused and concerned. But then you have these like most dedicated ESO players who are doing the content that is like the hardest in the game. They're trying to push like achievement hunting and hard modes and things like that. And we've seen like a pretty, I would say like a pretty dramatic dip in difficulty. Like as some of the hardest dungeons in the game have been nerfed really hard, like a couple times with the nerf bats. And that's not even talking about trials. It's hard to know which direction to go in. They're trying to service both of these groups. And so I think with normals, you really do have to think of it as they're trying to keep it as accessible as possible to the players who know the least. And then the veteran content, I don't think they are trying to appeal to the hardcorest of players. They're trying to figure out how to allow that content to be accessible to as many people as possible. I think that might be a problem.
I think maybe the name insinuates something about it as well. I actually think the name is a big thing. Like calling it veteran is an insinuation of your experience, because a veteran is like someone who's been doing something for a long time, right? I mean, I'm not sure what the actual. I could look at the definition.
It's just a holdover from the system before champion points. You had veteran ranks, and so when you get there, you'd do vet dungeons. That's just what it was called. But now I think you're right. There is some sort of like kind of
there's an expectation like that you, because a veteran literally means
you know what you're doing, sort of deal.
It's a weird separation. I feel like people don't really know when they're supposed to start in like veteran too, because like I'll have people come in into my stream and they're like, I'm 160 CP, can I do veteran dungeons now? But then I'm like, well, thinking, what kind of gear do you have? Like, do you feel comfortable running dungeons, and like how are you doing in normal dungeons? You know, you don't really know when people ask you.
Are you doing Blood Reforged?
Everybody's at a different level. Do they know how to like rotations? They understand rotations and things like that, because a lot of it comes into practice. And you know, if you're just winging it through a dungeon, you're gonna have a harder time than somebody that's like actually putting time into their build and stuff.
And some of the you know, the veteran dungeons are easier than some of the normal DLC dungeons as well. And you're like, okay, I don't know, it should be difficult.
It's very weird. And where like there's nowhere in the game after the first 5 minutes of you playing that does a good job of explaining the mechanics. So you go into your, like we were talking about, your tutorial area. It shows you how to interrupt. It shows you how to heavy attack.
You forget that shit.
And
you forget it.
no
Really
one,
quick.
the minute you're done with it, none of those players, they're going to go to the next enemy and light attack it to death. Like, that's just what's going to happen. And then maybe they'll remember they have an ability and they'll use the ability, right? But
a good.
so
Could there be like could there be a training, an advanced training kind of thing?
I
like
think
a
it's
boss
direly
trainer or something?
needed, honestly.
Like a training area, kind of like what they have in FPS games, you mean?
Actually, not a bad idea
That
at
would
all.
be cool.
Not a bad idea at
yeah,
all.
that would be
Overwatch has got it,
interesting.
right? Overwatch has got that kind of thing where it's like it's a basic
true.
and it's actually like 10-15 minutes. You play for it once and you do get it was actually a pretty good tutorial, to be fair. I don't know. It's
I had a
actually not
weird thought, but like, what if you had a bunch of different item sets that you could just like try out different item sets and things? Kind of like what you can do on the PTS. You can do that on the PTS, but then you have to go through the trouble of like, you know,
Yes.
downloading
Yes.
it,
Yes.
all of that.
Yes.
But that would be really interesting, where you
Not-
could practice.
Not
parsing and
interesting, just yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, like
Definitely.
you could just go up to a quote unquote rack and then pick which quote unquote gear you can try on. Like they don't,
Quote
they
unquote.
don't have, you know what I mean? It doesn't like you don't have to go in and open up all these things and put it
Yeah.
on. It just applies to your character and you can mess around a
You can
little
see your
bit
damage.
with
You can
it.
test all this stuff out. Yeah, exactly. I
That
agree.
would also be super
Mhm.
valuable on the PTS because I spent 2 hours putting my character together 2 weeks ago and I was completely and utterly uninterested in actually playing that character.
Well, you should.
after
Yeah, I mean that's
I got
kind of
everything.
stuff. I've not played the PTS because I don't like to
Oh.
play stuff before it's released, but that kind of
Oh
thing
my
should
God.
be there. Really, I mean, like you should be able to
it
just
takes
load up a
a
character of this.
Absurd amount of time.
Oh well, that's not good.
So dumb.
That's actually something they should probably think about.
Yeah.
Because that's what you
That
want.
would be a dual use system though. Like you can test and then you can also easily help players learn what sets do. And
Yeah.
things like
That would be
Well,
good. That would. Be
I think
good.
it's like so fresh. Like I can totally picture that just because I've been like playing Apex Legends a little bit more recently, and they have a training field where you can go in and you can try out any weapon they have in the game. You can try out like any different
Ooh.
attachments and like
That's
things.
true.
So it's totally different game, but it's just kind of an interesting thing to think about with you
You
know.
can gain your feel of your style as well, of the way you want to play it, like what you enjoy. Like even if it's not something that's mainly massively useful, it's like, even if it's just something which, you know, this is more my play style and it's kind of fun to play. Even if you're just a solo player and you just want to try something that's, you know, got a pet when it comes with like a monster set or something. I don't know. But I like that. I like that idea. That's good. Like something actually would be pretty cool. I mean, saying that and continuing on with what we're kind of talking about now, it was one of you two, I can't remember, but we were talking about it and I said something about getting gear from dungeons without having to repeat it 1,000,000 times and still not getting it. And my example is the Sanctuary Lightning stuff. Basically, if you're a healer, right? So if you're playing ESO for the first time, you're listening to this, or you're watching this live, or you're watching this on YouTube, you have to get stuff from dungeons to wear it, right? Armor, stuff like that, right? I'm really starting basic here, but you need, you know, a certain amount of pieces to make a set. Okay, monster sets are a lot easier to get than anything else, right? Other than if you need to get rings and stuff, if you need to get weapons and stuff, you have to wait for an RNG drop to occur. That if you're me and you're doing like Crucible, like don't even know how many times I've done that dungeon, looking for one staff so I can complete a set and have like my armor set the way I want it. I feel there should be a way that you can buy armor, jewelry, and weapons from dungeons so you don't have to repeat them endlessly. And I know the argument against this. But how do you guys feel about that?
I think ESO does a really good job with the transmute system and everything because you can like change the traits and everything. I know what you're saying though, because I remember I was farming a Lich Shield one time and I had friends run it with me over and over and over again. We ran Cryptid Hearts just like repeatedly, and I ran it for a couple of weeks trying to get this Lich Shield for a build, and it was kind of a pain. So I definitely understand. Some of those items are super rare to drop, and then if you don't get them in the right trait, it's like you have to transmute it. And
yeah, I mean,
I don't
transmuting
think it's horrible though,
But
because
my
you can store
sanctuary
items.
stuff, not T-Star. Like my sanctuary stuff. When am I gonna get it? Will I
That
ever
one was
get
a
it?
rare drop. That's a really rare drop. I don't know why. I had trouble getting that too. And then the Burning Spellweave Inferno is like elusive. I know that's one that people talk about a lot.
I mean, I get what someone said something. It would take away everything that I do in dungeons to grab the pieces. Like I understand that. But it would be cool to have some kind, even if it's just a ridiculous amount of currency, to like buy one thing, to just be like, you know, I need this stuff. And maybe it is a bit selfish, but I'm just thinking generally, you know, new players, if they want to start getting stuff as well. And yeah, sure, it pumps up the dungeon queues, it pumps up everything else. But I feel like as well, there is something where, you know, if that gear was easier, would it mean more people would be playing stuff in trials? Like, would they be going into trials more because they've got more access to the gear? You know, in this content where, you know, you don't see that many people. And I don't know if genuinely that isn't something that impacts something else. I don't know. A couple of people have mentioned to me, it doesn't seem to ever be a massive thing where they're like, you know, I can't get the gear to do this, that, the other, because I don't think ESO is that difficult to play.
That's what I was gonna say. There's another dynamic that you haven't mentioned. If we make dungeon gear too easy to farm, crafting is basically obsolete. And
that's true.
I think that's a really big deal.
That's
like
true.
if you're a new player, you shouldn't be depending on a dungeon set. Probably you should be you should be getting a crafted set, and then you have what you need to get the gear that you need.
Okay, so you should be it should be craft gear, then go to the dungeon kind of thing.
In my opinion, absolutely. I had crafted gear for a very long time.
That's fine. Like I don't mind that. That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, how many people like have a gold set of Julianos? Like that's never gonna not be useful somewhere on some one of your tunes. Like it, even if you're just using as like a gap between when you get your real gear or not, you should definitely keep crafting stuff relevant.
I think there's something really rewarding when you get that drop too, finally. Just from, I don't know. I know it's annoying trying
RNG though.
It's not even RNG,
skill.
yeah.
That's the
and
thing.
some of the
That's
drops feel more rare than others. Like you might see like a Burning Spellweave two-hand a bunch of times, and then you're like, where the heck is the staff? So yeah, I understand.
I think it's more of just like maybe it's more of a having, maybe from me personally, having a look at the stuff which doesn't really drop hardly ever, and just giving it a bit of love in the drop rate area. It would be cool. I don't know.
I think that kind of brings up another point, and I don't actually know if you planned on talking about this today, but like the balance changes and things, and like the different changes with sets. I know a lot of people get frustrated with that. For example, you gold out a full set, and then all of a sudden it gets nerfed. Like the next patch is just nerfed, and there's a new set in with a new DLC that you need to go farm. Like that can be really frustrating for players to the point where they'll like quit the game. I just know because I know people that have gotten so frustrated that they're just kind of over it.
Stardancer for a Funko Pop collection everywhere the other day. She's just like, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening. There's just Funko Pop figures everywhere.
I have like all the Elder Scrolls ones. I was telling them about it before the podcast started.
Don't throw the Elder Scrolls Funko Pop ones. That's rude. I understand that. I do understand that. I like the I do like. I think it's just the one or two pieces where I'm just like, it'd just be nice if I had that. And I do like dungeons, so I think it is a bit of a selfish thing, maybe. But I would like some kind of. I just remember in Guild Wars 2 as an example, you could buy gear, specific gear with specific stats with dungeon currency, which was like you had to do the dungeons a hell of a lot, to actually get the currency, which was really nice. But it still meant, like, unfortunately, they screwed dungeons over. They didn't develop them further, and they're really good. But you know, I don't know.
I didn't know that. Interesting.
But yeah, they've got that
didn't know that.
system. The system is really good, especially for new players to get like stat gear, which is, and if they don't craft and they are playing solo, they play the dungeon and they get like 60 tokens, and I think a piece of armor is like 250. And if you've got like 6 pieces of armor, that's like, think how many times you got to do the dungeon, you know. Just means there's another option. I think I do like the idea of giving as many options as you possibly can give to get a thing, because then that gives people options. Options are good. And
we already have a currency for
For gear?
dungeons.
for dungeons,
We have the Undaunted keys. We could
yeah, but it's only for the.
potentially
Yeah, that's true. I guess
use that, like add some boxes or something.
maybe it was you then,
with our
because I think
gear.
that's what we were talking about. We were talking about keys for armor and maybe some weapons
Yeah.
or something. Maybe it was you. It must have been. Maybe I think we kind of talked about this before.
It was like right before keys became like a quote unquote currency, before it was like separate on each character.
Yeah, I think we did actually. I wonder if we had this conversation and
Yeah.
something happened and we influenced something. I'm going to say that we did. I'm going to lie. Yeah.
Wow.
No,
You're
I'm not
insane.
lying. I'm not lying.
We've
We
been waiting for. Amazing.
definitely did that. That was definitely our influence. Yeah. T, it's happened. Unfortunately, 140 people have heard us talk about this as being a potential lie, and also probably 500 or 600 people listening wherever they're listening, and another 200 people on YouTube. So only 1,000 people know. I'm sure it's going to be fine.
It's not
Don't
too
worry.
many. It's fine.
Yeah, Star's going to hide our secret. It's going to be okay. Let's move on. Star sent over a really good article to me. Actually, I'm going to let you talk about this. Something to do with trials?
Oh, yeah. So I found an article, and it was actually from a couple years ago on MMORPG.com, and it was about like improvements to ESO that they'd like to see. And the article itself, I kind of like skimmed through because I thought it was stuff that I'd all heard before. And then I went down and read through the comments, and it was a lot of stuff that was, for example, regular guild stuff that you've probably heard before, like the guild hall thing, and then also the guild trader system and how it's different from other games. And then there was also a comment about trials and how it's hard to get into them, or people like weren't sure how to get into them. They said it felt weird shouting into like zone chat to try to get a trial together because of other systems that they were used
Screaming
to.
into the void.
Yeah, screaming to the void was what kind of something like they said.
Oh, is that what they said? Oh, okay, right.
Yeah,
That's
they
kind of
said
funny.
it feels weird yelling into the void for a trial or something like
that's
that.
the saying. Yeah.
I thought you read it or something.
No, I
was like,
didn't. I
"Have you
didn't read that
noticed
bit. That's kind of what. Yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, you
leans the
scrolled through
void.
and found the same comment as me. So anyway,
That's funny.
apparently, and I haven't done raids in FF14, so I'm not really sure, but he said there was a different system for
I
doing
have, yeah.
trials or raids in other games that might be interesting for ESO. And I don't know how that would go because I've pugged trials, like, veteran trials in Craglorn, usually like VHRC or VA or something.
Yeah.
And sometimes they go fine. It's like a perfect group. We're great, sail through it. And then other times you're in there and it's like 2 hours later and people are all dying just because it's a pug group. Like you don't know what you're going to get. It could be like all, people doing their first veteran trial. It could be experienced players. You don't really know. So I think it would be interesting, but I have no idea how they would implement it. So yeah.
T, how would you feel? And I'm going to be right back in like literally 30 seconds. Someone's knocking at my
No
door.
problem.
But you can just express your opinion if
Not
you'd like
again. Last time I was on the podcast, it was his person who owns the apartment, and I was like, oh god, they're gonna kick him out of the apartment on a podcast.
It would be just me and you. We'd have to take over the show.
This is our podcast now. Welcome.
Don't worry, we'll take care of the channel, Jebro.
Gosh, I don't know. Okay, so I've heard the same thing about Final Fantasy Trials, and it boggles my mind because you try and pug even normal trials in ESO, and people don't know what they're doing. It really, really falls apart very quickly. And I'm just thinking to myself, how does everyone know
I
what
know.
they're doing? I know.
Yeah.
It's so rare that we can even find, like, we do trials on Saturday. This last time we almost had to cancel because we didn't have a lead. And one of my viewers was like, well, you've done a bunch of trials, you can lead it. And I'm like, no, I can't. I've done DPS a bunch of trials. That does not mean I can help if like the tank gets stuck on the last boss, for example. There's a lot of things you can do. I have no idea what those things are. I can't tell them you try this instead of this. Because that's the difference between doing a pug and, doing an organized trial, is that you have somebody who is willing to step up and explain things and work it out. Because if you're just going to keep doing the same thing over and over again, it's not going to work.
Yeah, even if people know what to do. Yeah. You
need to know like what your group's DPS is. Can you beat DPS races? And by the way, we got stuck on the last boss. We were doing a very difficult mechanic called standing together in a group.
Stacking.
We were getting chained lightning, and as soon as one person goes down, our DPS is down by 2 people, and it just keeps snowballing. And then there was too many axes, and then we couldn't burn down the mages fast enough because there's people dead on the ground, and you're trying to res them. And that was. I don't usually do the stacking. That's actually a new way of doing it from what I've done. Usually I go around the circle, like the range DPS stays on the edges. And I was like, do you know how to do this? And the lead was like, no, I don't. And so my chat was like, well, here's the chart and all this. I'm like, I'm not going to force the lead who came in at the last second so that we could do this trial to do something he's not comfortable with, right? Yeah. And we ended up not finishing the trial. At that point, we waited 3 hours while we derped around in the trial. And then a bunch of people in my chat were like, we'll help. And then somehow we got a whole group together and we killed him. 28 points, that's right. It was so stupid. We were trying to like 4-man it for a while. It was really dumb. But what I was saying, Jebros, I have no idea how in other MMOs.
I can tell you, I've been in them.
Wait, how do people know what to do? Because in ESO, nobody, like, you need a lead. So
yeah, like people wouldn't
there is
know
a
where
comment
to
I can
stand
say.
or
I think what it is with Final Fantasy, you can queue up as in for raids, and I think a lot of them are at the point where they kind of, with the power level, that you can kind of easily farm through them, and there'll be some people that die and it doesn't matter. I think that's one thing. In WoW, could you queue for raids? I can't remember if you can. I think you can. As the kid.
I'm actually not sure either. I know a lot of people have like raid groups that they set up runs and run with,
Yeah.
but I'd imagine like there's so many that go in a WoW raid. Wouldn't you have to have some kind of queue system?
I think I'm not sure, but yeah, there is. Well, the Guild Wars 2, someone mentioned in the chat, Jin. There's an LFG system where you basically have, you bring up this thing for friends. There is a raid finder. Yeah, I thought so. So there's one in WoW. There's one in Final Fantasy 14. Guild Wars 2 has a thing in between where it's like a LFG looking for group thing. So imagine like a new window in ESO, and it's got all the different zones, and it's got all the different kind of content you can do in the game. I mean, everything like world bosses in whatever zones, like PvP, Cyrodiil, whatever. So you go to the little menu, you click a button, and on the right hand side there'll be people who have started groups for that content. So for raids, there's like a button for like raids, and they'll say progression raid. Don't need experience, join here to learn and train. This raid, you must have, the purple hat of Lissa to join, or something ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? Like, some stupid thing, or some kind of kill
cool.
proof. So there is like a system where you can do that, and there actually used to be systems in online on websites and stuff where you could join raids on a chat or something and go into a game, like in older MMOs as well. But this is that's like a very minimum system. Like, it's very much, people have to buy into that kind of thing. They have to set up a group. They have to be willing to bring people in who might not be experienced if that's their goal, but they put their goals in. And unfortunately, that kind of system actually brings a lot of anger with it as well, because people are you spammed that you killed this thing, but you don't know what to do, and it's like, well, yeah, I did, but I got carried through the raid with some friends, and that's just the way it is.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So it's difficult.
Yeah.
But then the thing is and then it's a difficult thing to do because raiding is difficult. Now, WoW started with 40-man raids when they launched the game, which is always going to.
That
Can you
is
imagine?
insane.
Massive.
Can you imagine if it was like that? WildStar launched was the same and launched 4 or 5 years later, I think, or was it even later than that? No, it was much later than that. That's one of the reasons why that game died. ESO has probably got the worst system for bringing in people to. Well, there is no system.
Right.
It's not the worst.
Everybody
There is
has to
not.
do it themselves, and it's
Yes.
extremely hard just from running my own guild and starting to raid last year and starting progression groups and stuff. It's hard to get people to commit. It's hard to work around schedules, and you have people cancel last minute. It's a main tank that cancels, and you're like, well, shoot, where do I find one of those? We're running a
Yeah.
vet trial, and we can't just pull anybody. So it's almost
That's the life.
it's just really difficult
That's the
to
actual life.
manage.
That's it.
It
That's
actually
That's
became. It felt like a job,
It is. Absolutely.
For people,
You're
I
completely
have a
right.
lot of respect for people that run raiding guilds and can,
But
manage them
that
well.
will be a lot of what they do, though. That will be
Yeah.
their content. They'll be the raid leader, and then during the week they will help people out, and that's what they will do. They will do that, and that's
well,
the
not
thing.
even just that, but you're training people. If
Yeah.
you're helping people from new player up, because a lot of the people in my guild, our progression group, we all started, leveling and parsing and farming our gear together. So it was a lot of, I don't know, it was a nice team feeling, but at the
Mm.
same time, it was really hard to manage and set up runs and work around everybody. And yeah, even with only 12 people, I can't imagine 40. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
But
Just trying to get 12 people together. We do normals pretty
Yeah.
regularly. I can pull anybody from chat who wants to come. But we tried doing vet, getting a group to do vet runs, and it was hard to find. We never had the same people any week. We never had the same 12 people. They were we want to keep it casual, but then there are some people who didn't want to cooperate to
Yeah.
get better. And like that's kind of the point of the group, is to learn. And then if you run into somebody who is starting to get frustrated after a couple of wipes, that's the worst, because it just brings down the morale of the rest of the group so fast. Like they're like, oh, we gotta call it. It's like, no, you don't get to call when the group calls it. If you want to leave, that's fine. They don't want to keep you here if you're frustrated. But I mean, how are we gonna learn if we just die a couple times and decide we can't do it? And that, I think that kind of goes into vet dungeons a little bit too. Some people get so frustrated they just leave.
It's definitely it's a risk. It's a risk. It's one of those things, right? I mean, I guess it's almost like what you could imagine happening if you actually went on a real life raid, one of these things where you're just like, this is too hard and I don't want to carry on, I'm leaving, and they just run away. It is. I think it's definitely easier as streamers to get these kind of things together as community, but it's still difficult as all hell as well, because we did something
it's
similar.
Like you're running a lottery. You have no idea.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get people who are like, you're like, holy smokes, they know what they're doing. Like they're carrying us so hard. And then there's sometimes where you have somebody who's like, I'm a healer, and they're like, all right,
Was that your voice changed and everything? I can imagine this person right now.
Yeah, they're like, I'm a healer, and they're like, all right, so I don't know what this ability is. What is it? And you're like, oh no, oh no.
Oh, I don't have shards, or I don't have anything that's, really like. I'm a healer.
I'm a healer, waves a sword around. Yeah,
I've just got healing abilities, and that's it. They've got nothing else, and you're like, damn.
Yeah.
But like sometimes, sometimes it's good to their lessons for.
It's a good lesson, but not in a vet run. Like people don't realize what they're signing up for, and it's not gonna just take 20 minutes.
And it's not
it
fun
could take
for
2
anyone.
hours.
Yeah.
Well, I think sometimes they think of the jump between like normal and veteran, like not DLC dungeons, and they're like, oh, it's probably like that for trials too. It's not like that big of a jump, but it actually is a pretty big jump, especially like as a new person to trials, like coming in. And I think it's really nice when you have people that are willing to listen, willing to learn. But if you get somebody that's like really stubborn and they don't want to change their bar setup or whatever, but it's like affecting the group, it's really hard to manage people like that. Especially like for me, I'm a people pleaser too, so I like everybody to be happy and chill, and it's just not like that. Like if you're wiping over and over again, people get angry, or it's hard. That's why I said, when I said I have a lot of respect for trial leaders, raid leads, they have to be a certain type of person, I think. I mean, you can do it. Anybody can do it if they really want
like
to.
You have to be that kind of person, everyone. Just trying to. You have to be a complete hard ass.
Know how to manage people and set up your requirements and know what you want, like what your goals are, and be just really organized. I think in that way.
That's fair. Okay.
Which is why I don't do it. I let other people.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if there's a queue, maybe if there was a queue to potentially try out trials, even if they're the easier ones, or if there was just a normal trial queue.
Normal would be great.
Like a normal.
I think that would be cool too for people farming gear, because a lot of people ask me, oh, can we set up like trial runs? And then it's hard to get, like, because I have a smaller guild, so it's hard to get like a full group going like every weekend, or even every day. That's kind of impossible for me with my schedule too. So I'm just kind of like, well, if you go to Craglorn and you type in Zone Chat, you can find a group. Which it would be cool to just be like, oh, go into the queue system and just queue for a normal trial.
I mean, I would do that like every day if there was set up.
It'd be fun. It would actually be like, will we be able to do it today with this random pub group? Queue, boom, straight in there.
Yeah,
actually be kind of fun. I would actually like that.
That would be nice for like rewards. A lot of people like to do them for geodes or whatever too.
Yeah,
just for their.
Especially if you're just solo, just playing the game on your own, like and you're like, one day I want to get into a trial. Don't necessarily want to get to know people. But I would like
There's
to
not that
experience stuff.
pressure to join a guild, and then you're like, I don't know
Yeah.
what this guild's gonna be like. Are they gonna be hardcore, too hardcore for me, whatever? It's just kind of nice to be able to queue.
Because like we even though we all talk about like in you know, MMOs are community experiences and they should be about talking to other players and all this kind of stuff. Like there are many people who just play these games because, and you know, I like to play them on my own a lot. I kind of stream a lot on my own as well, to be fair, when I play ESO, where you know, people do want to play. It's nice to know there's other people walking around in the game, but they do want to play on their own. But they want to experience some of the content that, you know, they can't really do on their own, like Trials, where there's some good story, where there's some good mechanics, some good loot and stuff, which I just don't have access to. So no, could be a good thing. You never know. Anyway, let's move on quick because I'm not sure how much longer we're going to go for. Unless you guys need to go and do anything. You good? Okay. Okay.
I'm
Awesome.
alright.
I like talking to you guys. And these guys good. This is where the chat can react. You can't if you listen to this to a recording. I really like having you guys in there. Okay, so I think this is a tea topic. This is definitely a hot topic for tea, and I don't mean that shitty store in the like you go to when you're younger. Apparently I think that's the meme. I don't really understand it. I know I went there when I was like 21, 22, but I actually probably got this CBGB t-shirt, but that's a pretty cool t-shirt, to be fair. It's closed now, New York. But anyway, guild halls, housing, tea. Should there be a guild hall for a general guild? Could it be something that can be done?
Okay, spoiler alerts for the PTS.
Oh no!
It's just housing stuff, but there's two houses that are almost like little tiny, like villages almost.
Right.
And I thought it was really cool, but then the second thing I thought was, crap, we're not gonna get any sort of guild housing anytime soon, are we? Because it kind of was like their attempt at a guild hall, maybe.
Right.
Like there's different little houses and oh no.
Sorry, carry on. It's President's Day, and apparently people still work when that happens. There's just some loud banging.
Okay.
Just don't even get me started.
Are you all right?
I'm okay. No. I kicked something on the floor. I didn't fall over. I'm fine. It's just like I was just reaching for the door and then I kicked the bottle over there. It's got the top on it. It's okay. I'm okay, everyone. I'm okay. Can't remember what that movie is from. Oh, it's from Wednesday. Carry on, T.
All right. So I think because of those new houses, there's no plans for guild halls anytime soon, and
Right.
they also mentioned that they can't raise the housing item caps for a while until they can't even consider it until they are done with all of the performance improvements. So I feel like a lot of stuff that people thought were like, oh, any patch now we're gonna have a house that we can put more. No, I don't think that's the case.
Or even one that's just owned by the guild rather than a person.
Yeah, I see. That's difficult because how do they sell that?
Yeah, like who would it be under?
Yeah.
Who would, I guess, purchase it? I think something that would be cool, and I don't know if you guys have seen this. There's an add-on and it's guild hall button, but the only issue is I think everybody has to have the button for it to show up, but it basically puts the little guild hall symbol on your guilds, and it's the primary residence of, or you can set it, actually you can set it to whatever house, whoever in the guild you want it to be,
So it's linked.
like their primary.
Right,
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good idea.
So if that was like implemented into the game and the guild master could just control it, but everybody could see it, that would be cool. So that way not everybody would have to have it downloaded. I don't know if that makes sense, if you can picture that. But
No.
it's
That's what they do in Guild Wars 2.
yeah,
You press a button.
that would be cool.
You have a guild hall. This is actually a really epic system that they implemented with their first expansion. I know I'm comparing it to other games, but there's always games where you're like, I wish this thing was here and it would add so much. But basically, there was a whole system where they basically you have to fight for this guild hall. Basically, you go to the place and you fight these creatures, you do these events, and you take the guild hall. You take it, this area, and it's this big area, which, you know, you can add decorations to. You can, you know, have a mine there and all this different stuff, and a bar and everything else where you go there to get buffs and things like this. And it is on the guild op menu. There's just you press guild hall, you click it, you go there, and then that's it. Albeit there's not much else you do there. That's what the inception of this thing was really, really good. But there is a button where you just press guild hall. It's like World of Warcraft, I believe, as well. Yeah, there is like Rylar said in chat. They have these really good, like, bursty ideas where they're just like, yeah, this is a really good thing, and then it just falls off, unfortunately. It's just kind of what it's like over there at times, unfortunately. But they have these really good ideas, and this is still a fantastic game. I love the game to bits, but there's a lot of stuff where I'm just like, just a simple thing where you have a guild house which you can all access, and it can be basic that every single guild has access to. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. And then you could just have, like, you could, you know, like, all put gold in a pot together and get a house. I mean, you can do that manually anyway. I mean, if you really want to do that, and we did.
You could do that with the guild bank too. Just have people donate to the guild bank, I guess, for the guild hall or whatever.
Yeah. Like missions that the guild do as a unit to get some kind of guild experience towards items or gear or a hat. I don't know. Something like that actually gives guilds some kind of meaning other than just
The problem is I just don't think they'd be willing to give up the amount of money that housing currently brings them. Like, all of the big houses, which would be more comparable to guild halls, they're a lot, and people pay a lot to get those, and then they make them into their guild halls in a way.
You think it's a money thing?
If you've ever been to Spicy Island, for example,
No.
J
Spicy
Heart,
Island?
yeah,
Maybe I have.
maybe check that out off stream. But
Wow. Have you ever? I will never forget that, T. Have you ever been to Spicy Island? I would check that out off stream. Are we sorry Lewd Island.
The Lewd Island, yes.
I think I'm ever gonna. T, calm down.
Storm is a very creative decorator.
Okay.
That's all I will say.
Yeah, I think a lot of people already put a lot into it.
Yes, it is something you will never forget in your ESO experience going to Spicy Island. I'll take you if you would like to.
And now T is offering to take me to Spicy Island. Jesus Christ. This is next level.
I want to go to. I actually haven't been there.
Wow, we're all going. Let's all fucking go.
We should just do a tour after this.
Let's just go there. I'm kind of up for it now. In the game.
Very creative. I don't think it's anything that the ESO.
I've gone red. What's wrong with me? Jesus Christ, calm down. All right, go on.
Reader's like, I'm going.
I'm already there. I'm in there again.
She's gonna, like, be there waiting.
Oh god.
I almost feel like the guild hall thing is, like, too little too late, even if they
well done for bringing it back, by the way. Congratulations. I'll just take it immediately back there, but good job. Well done. You think it's a little bit too late? What for what? Sorry.
I think we've already to do guild halls. I
Yeah.
just think everybody's kind of already dealing with what we have been given, and
Right.
like you look at stuff like Spicy Island or Inkling's Place, even.
Yeah.
I
Know
mean,
that one. Yeah.
that's
not
spicy
spicy
even a
at
guild
all.
hall. That's like a community.
Yeah.
Except for the Net Shrine or whatever it is.
I like how T knows all these in-depth little tiny places and names for things of like different houses and stuff. It's just like, he just goes around these places like, Spicy Island. Amazing.
Knows all the hot
Yeah,
spots.
the Net Shrine.
Literally. That's literally. This is so true. So true. Star just knocks it on the head there.
Yeah, so as mentioned, raising the housing limit would probably be better than
Right.
getting quote unquote guild.
That's still an
Yeah.
issue.
I think I have like 3 things for guild halls. So like the button I think would still be nice, even
Mhm.
if you could just set it to your primary residence or wherever you want like somebody new joining your guild to go. If they just had a button they could click, because a lot of
Mm.
times they're just like, I don't know whose name to click on, or they don't even know there is a guild hall.
Or
unless
that you
put
can
it
even
like-
do that in the first place.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, or even
yeah.
can even travel.
Mhm.
But yeah, like when they discover they can travel to players to find new
Oh my
places,
god.
and they're like, it's
I know,
revolutionary.
and it's free
Save
as
money.
well. It's like,
Yeah.
what? Okay.
So that was the first thing. Second thing, I don't even bring up the item limit. Like I haven't been at the moment when I'm streaming, just because I saw the forum post where they said they can't because of performance.
Yeah.
They
They
can't
mentioned it on
increase
the
it.
SO Live last week as well again.
Yeah.
Mm.
But that would be the second thing. And then the third thing, I don't know if they could do this, but if you could have like signs, I mean, I'm sure there would be some way, for example, like over crafting stations or something, just to be able to label them. I've seen all kinds of creative way that people
Inkling's one,
creative ways that they will label their
Inkling.
crafting stations. But if you could have a nice way of just labeling things or editing the size of things, I don't know, something interesting to think about would be changing like the types of furnishings or something. But maybe not count. They would have to count as furnishings. Is the only problem. Then you wouldn't have enough space for all of that. But
Yeah.
do you know what I'm talking about with like the special crafting stations, and then you have like the soul gems over top that spell like
Oh yeah,
AO
yeah,
or
yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
there's some like actual like shop name or something, like actual
Yeah.
visible things which aren't.
if you could write your own out, it would be kind of cool. I don't know how you would
Oh,
do it.
like
but...
more kind of customization on that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Oh, that could
Yeah.
be quite cool actually. Make it actually like guild halls a little bit more special, I suppose, as well. Kind of like that. That's actually true. I actually went into the our guild hall yesterday and was looking at the outfitting station, and I said, this kind of looks a bit lame. It's just like 2 buckets with red and blue dye and like some cloth, like rested over this bench, and I was like, wouldn't it be cool if we could like, you could look a little bit better than this? Just a random point.
I mean, there
There
is
you go.
cooler versions. Isn't there one from the Clockwork City that's nicer? But like those are all Crown Store stuff.
See, that's the kind of stuff that would be cool to earn as a guild. I don't know. People would care
It
that
would
much. I
be,
don't know. Okay.
especially since it's been out for a long time. I think they should
Yeah.
make use of like recycled content a little bit more. Like how they added Imperial City into the base game. I think it'd be really cool if they added Rothgar, for example, into the base game. And I actually think it's way past due time that Dark Brotherhood and Thieves Guild were added as well.
Yeah, start rotating that stuff in. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like they're kind of moving towards that kind of place, I think, because they've started, like, what is it? Is it Austinium you said is the one which is free? Austinium?
No, that one's still not free. Imperial City is.
Per se, sorry, yeah. No,
Which makes the most sense because you don't really need a whole lot of DLC to do PvP. It
Yeah.
kind of
And I
sounds
think it kind of
like it.
encourages people to try PvP if they can get something for
Yeah.
like a free access to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff. Okay. Right. What else have we got? Gathering slash crafting. There was something I said or was playing in the game yesterday, and someone stole my Columbine, and I was like, okay.
Dude.
Another thing in Guild Wars 2 as well is that if someone runs over to a thing and they pick it up, it's still there. It's character bound, account bound. Sorry. So if you gather something, it's not there for the day, only for you. So imagine like someone doesn't take a mining node. Someone takes you're like about to go get a mining node. Slightly, you want to, want tea's sitting there, and she's like, I want some tea. She swigs her tea, and someone comes across and they nick it, and it's gone. How does that feel, T? Does that fit? Is that upsetting?
I wouldn't be mad, but I'd be pretty disappointed.
See, you can hear it in T's voice as well.
The disappointment.
I was very disappointed. Like,
especially if it's something rare.
Yeah, exactly.
Or not rare, but like something more expensive. You're both running for it. It's like, who gets there first?
This is true. Is this something that is a big thing? Is it an issue? Is it like maybe Nick, you could have this as a thing? Not really that important. Anyone, if you care.
I mean, I feel like I go to pretty easy to farm places, like maybe less populated places. The only times I've been annoyed is when I'm trying to like chest farm a set or something, and then I go and all the chests are taken and it drops in that like on that map. So that's kind of when it's annoying, and it would be nice if it was account bound, but I don't think I have like too much of an issue with it. It is always annoying when somebody grabs your stuff and you're like both racing for it, but you're already there sitting by it and you just are taking like a second to grab it.
Doesn't happen that often though, right?
Not usually when I'm farming, but sometimes I farm like not during prime time, so I don't know how it is for like people that are farming, earlier in the day, or like when more people are online, or I guess you could just go to like a less populated map.
Yeah, true. And like someone said in chat as well, surveys kind of help you to... I kind of imagine T's inventory full with surveys. Mine is.
That you are implying that I do rich.
Oh, shit. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we don't even get that far. Okay.
Don't slander my good name like this.
Don't slander my good name.
So... I do have, I really don't like doing surveys, so the ones I do have are just stuck in my bank right now.
Surveys from 2015, if they ever existed then.
No, I didn't know they existed back then. I think it was a little bit later.
I don't even know.
I'm like the polite person who, if I see somebody who runs up to the chest, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, and then I'll like back out. I'll open the chest and be like, here you go, because I don't have any inventory space. I don't really care what's in there. I just like the little clicky noise when you auto break a lock. So you know what? You can have the Rubedite shoes. I don't care.
You can have the Rubedite shoes. You used that example earlier. Oh, that's hilarious.
One less item to clog up my inventory.
Yeah, I just like the clicky noise when it opens. I mean, that is a nice feeling. That's true. I get what you mean in Skyrim when you unlock that first chest.
Yeah.
Or that master chest.
It's like, oh yeah, got it.
The pressure when you go to open one.
Well,
so fast.
I have all my passives, so I just try and break the lock, and I have like a 90% chance at it. So it's always embarrassing when it's a simple lock, and it's like, nope.
Can be embarrassing. Never happened to me, of course. If you have any other suggestions for like gathering or crafting, is there anything that you can think of that you would love to have? If chat has any ideas as well, float them into the chat. Feel free to do so. Is there anything that you can think? I'm not a big crafter myself, so I'm not really sure. I just thought of that kind of discussion on stream in terms of gathering, but otherwise,
I don't know. I've always liked it. I'm not like super hardcore. I've never had like a route or anything where I would take, but literally my first month of playing the game, all I did was collect flowers and find chests and collect motifs.
That's me in
So-
Skyrim right now.
Yeah.
Every flower that I come across, I just pick
Yeah.
them. It's like that's basically me playing Skyrim as I'm walking and picking flowers most of the time.
Stardancer picks
Yeah,
flowers in
It's
Skyrim.
comfy. It's
I don't
super
even
comfy.
craft yet.
Oh no,
Yeah,
I'm not
who
crafting.
cares?
I can't
You
be
got
asked.
flowers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't be asked to craft. There's other people sell stuff I can just buy. Screw it. you end up making a lot of gold quite easily. So it's like
Yeah, you do.
I'm good. I'll enchant it later, maybe. I don't know. I want to look good, or at least make Lydia look good, so that she can tank things, and I can just stand there and Stardancer can pick flowers. Lydia's just fighting 10 dragons. Just give me a second. It's gonna be fine. You can't die unless I kill you, so it's gonna be alright. I think. Okay. And on that note, actually, we're playing Skyrim and we thought about companions, and someone said something about like the later, even though there's one Tamriel, but overland zones when you're on your own and you want to do some harder stuff. Said something about having a companion come with you, other than because you do have kind of some companions on quests that walk around with you, you know, story or just individual kind of quest lines where you have like an NPC. Do you think it'd be cool to have like a companion who would run around with you that you could have? Maybe you can buy it on the Crown Store. I don't know. That could fight with you. Could that be a thing? Not in like trials or anything, like solo.
I don't know.
content.
It's hard to think about because I think you already have like, I mean, you have your bankers and your merchants and like your pets and stuff, your non-combat pets, and then you have your combat pets too. If you're like obviously if you're playing a class with pets. So I mean, it wouldn't be like totally out of the realm of possibility, but at the same time, I don't know. I guess I'm not experienced in like too many other MMOs, so I don't know if like there's anything like that in other MMOs.
Yeah, Star Wars, the Old Republic has it
But
apparently. As far
would
as
that
I-
impact performance? I think is
Oh
what a lot of people
god,
would
yeah,
ask.
absolutely it would. I think it would.
Yeah, just
yeah.
I think that's everybody's like main concern, or like a lot of people right now is main concern. So it would be a huge thing to add in, probably.
It's very true. Very true. Server load. Yes, it's that thing, isn't it? You kind of have to expect.
Okay, Jebro,
Yes.
have you ever been to a quest area where there's a mandatory NPC following you
Yeah.
and you just see everyone running around with little clones following them?
Yeah.
And
Have they
Okay,
changed that though?
that-
Because last night I
that
thought
is like
no,
no.
they haven't changed
They'll
it.
change it to like a different character, so you'll see somebody that's not the NPC you're following around, just like a random guy following everyone else around. Anyway, that would just kill me. I hate things following me around, and like I've been playing my warden this week, and I like my bear, but oh my god, I just get so annoyed when I see that little arrow following me around on the side of the border of the screen.
like it. Do you not have a combat pet or anything? Like a non-combat pet running around with you? just
Sometimes,
like-
but there's not like that little arrow, that little indicator arrow that's
Oh.
moving around. I
see.
hate those things. It bothers.
I know. What you mean.
I know that's a really stupid reason, but yeah.
It's still your
I
reason,
don't like
T. It's your
quests or
reason, and you can
things
have it.
People following me around. Yeah.
I understand what you're saying too. I get it.
I do.
I just don't-
Screenshots.
I don't like the clutter. Like, I
Mhm.
don't like Zorks, pet Zorks, because of that. The Twilights just make me rage. 'Cause they're stupid.
Is this happening on your
Flying
streams?
wings are always in the way, and they're loud, and their stupid feet are always like just in the way of my camera. I'm like, get out of here, Twilight, go, bad.
if you've ever quested on a Magsork and don't have the kill your pet keybind, or like if you don't have it keybound or you don't have the add-on, it just you see the winged twilight in all of your quest dialogue flapping.
Oh.
I did all of Northern Elsewhere and Southern Elsewhere on my Magsork, and I think that was kind of annoying for some people. Like when they would come in and watch, they'd just see the winged twilight constantly in the quest dialogue, and I'd forget to kill it, and then yeah, it was just kind of a hassle. Questing on Magsork, nope.
Yeah.
God
I
damn.
do love pets though. Like I like playing Magwarden and Magsork, but I definitely found it distracting, just like having that in the.
Yeah, I love my bear. I would hate if everybody had something following them around. It would be like the people raging at the bears being in front of the turning stations, except for everything in the game.
Okay. Anything else to add, or do you, to that specific combat subject? Very good. Okay, so there's not much left to do. We've been going for a while. And definitely have to let you guys go soon, because it has been a bit. And they're probably sick of my voice by now. I think we've done that. Achievements. Do you want achievements to be more achievements count bound? Like across the scale? Do you care about achievements? Are they things? More skill lines? More stuff account bound rather than character bound? Is more of a general thing that I'm kind of going for. Like maybe some specific lines? Although, they're starting to make money out of that now, so that's probably not a thing. But anything account bound that you would like to see, rather than just, I have to get this done every single time on this character.
I think with some achievements, it would be really nice. But then again, I don't know, like what if you wanted to go back and do the quest again? I'm not really a quester, so I'd be like, I can't really speak too much on that. But I think for some achievements, it might be nice to keep them character bound. Some of the account bound ones that I think would be nice would be like some of the PvP achievements. But then again, it's been that way for so long. I don't know. I just feel pressure to like only play my Sandblade in PvP because I want to keep leveling her rank, and I don't know. That would be kind of nice to be able to still level your rank, but it's been that way so long. I don't know if people would want to change it. And then with trial achievements, a lot of times, especially if you're in like a vet trial group, they might want to see your clears on a specific class or like specific not class but role. So that might be hard to make account bound too.
The dies across. Be nice to get the achievement dies across characters.
I think you already do.
I think you get when you unlock the die. You do.
Do
you?
Yeah, you can use the dies on anything.
Yeah, so when you unlock a die, it's on all your characters. You can still get those achievements though, again, on other characters. It just doesn't unlock anything.
Okay, so you can get the dice. There you go. So that's sorted. There we go. We solved one thing today. Something we didn't know. Well, right, now you know. Now you know, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing to know, because I didn't know either. I just use the dice where they're there. There you go. Awesome. I wrote something there which I just randomly wrote for some reason. But anything else like as account bound? Do you think the skill lines are okay? That's fine how it is. Just kind of leave them per character. Psijic is fine. You can buy it anyway.
Yeah, it's a hassle. Like I'm leveling Mage's Guild on all my healers, and I'm just kind of, I'm finally done to the point where I'm good now. But they have it available to buy in the store. So if you really wanted to avoid the hassle, you can buy it. So, and I don't know. I think it's fine how it is.
T.
I think because you can buy it in the Crown Star, we're never gonna see.
Yep.
The account-wide skill lines unlocked. I think it would be nice quality of life thing, kind of similar to how CP changed things, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I
Oh, no.
agree. For sure, because then what would be the point of buying them if they just
Yeah.
made them? Yeah.
That's right.
It'd be so nice to not have to do Sigic like 6 times or whatever. However many
I've only
times you're
done it
gonna do
once.
it.
I've only done it once, and I
Yeah.
bought it the other time. So I'm like, I felt a bit scummy when I bought it. I was like, oh. And I don't even use that character anymore. It's the most upsetting thing about it. It was just a PvP thing. I wanted to play a stamina sork, and then I was like, oh. Shit. Now I spend that money. Well, it was my crowns from my subs. I didn't, Anyway, doesn't matter. Something I said, not really got much left to really. We're kind of winding down. So if anyone has anything burning that they would love to see, or love to speak about, then please go ahead. But otherwise, I just thought about stuff like maybe the option to redo or go back on an option if you messed up in a really big story quest. I'm mainly talking about this because I messed up last night on stream. Or to redo a story or actually experience the rest of the story if you made like quite a big choice, and to just witness that kind of other option would be cool. I don't know if that's something you guys have ever thought about. Maybe. I like being evil. Well, I mean,
I haven't had that feeling in ESO yet, but I can understand that feeling because I definitely think it would be cool to go back and like see a different option, just see how, even if you could like look it up and see, but to actually play through a different option is kind of a different thing, but not having to do the whole quest over again. The game that comes to mind, and I don't know if you guys have played, either of you played Life is Strange? It won't be like spoilery or anything.
In the beginning of
I
a
haven't.
couple of episodes.
Okay. Well, with a few games, I know you can like, there are like multiple, well, yeah, I don't know how to do it without spoiling it, so I won't say anything, but it would just be really cool to be able to like see different outcomes of quests and things.
Yeah, because it might be like a major thing, like a person dies or they don't die and they've got more dialogue, or there's like a mini thing that happens.
I was gonna say, especially if you're really invested in the story and then you make a bad decision or something. Yeah, to see that other option.
I did that
nice.
a lot in Witcher 3. Apparently I had one of the worst endings you could have. Or the worst ending you can have. And I was like, well, I was kind of happy about it, but now I want to go back and play the whole game again, motherfucker. It was just like, really? Sorry.
Yeah.
Witcher 3 is a good example, too.
That was painful. Everyone was like, yeah, that's the worst ending. Really?
So you have to play through the whole game to see the other endings?
I guess. Or load a different save, like a different pinnacle
I was just wondering
points.
where it splits off as far as
Oh,
like,
there's many places,
which
apparently.
ending you get.
I
There's
mean,
so
yikes.
many decisions that you make that impact what happens in
Yeah.
that game.
Oh no.
But it's
was
really
still
good. It's a great game.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, I
Yeah.
loved playing through that straight. Are you doing it as well? And you start. That's right.
I finished it back in like September. So I need to do the DLCs. I actually had a good ending, semi good. It was like half good, half bad, but I was pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I was okay
surprised.
about it. Like, I wasn't too worried, but like everyone else was pissed. I was like, dude, like, why didn't you because I'm just like, no spoilers, blind, don't ruin anything. I was like banning you, and like, no, I'm not that harsh, everyone. Just a timeout.
Just a little.
Just over in the corner. Go over there. And yeah, so it's like, I don't know.
I'm usually pretty content with my decisions, even if the outcome is bad, because that was the decision that I made, and I'm like excited to just see like what happens with the decisions.
That was your gut
it's no
decision.
fun if somebody tells you the right choice.
Yeah,
in chat.
exactly. It's
Usually
like, you should do this because there's a
100%.
potato over there or something. It's like, oh, I really like
Yeah.
potato. And sorry,
Or
random
if
example.
you choose that one, something bad's gonna happen. Even though you still want to go with that one, you're like,
Yeah.
oh no, now I should pick the other one. It's just kind of,
Yeah, and then you got
ruins
the
it.
streamer regret. And
Mhm.
it's just like, oh, good lord. Yeah,
I'm gonna pick
potato
the
was the
bad
first
one anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I was
Live on
just
the
gonna
edge.
suck. It's fine. Don't worry. It's okay. Yeah, that was just a random little extra choice. One thing I would love to have is just like, this is the big one for me. Just a bigger quest log limit. Just a bigger quest log limit.
Please.
25. Sorry?
Please. Oh my god, I'm always at full quest.
And you don't even quest that much, do you?
That's why.
I was like,
Pick
T,
stuff up
you
and
need
then-
to do some quests, goddammit. Stream. Whoever goes to T stream, I do, and I'll do it next time. Yeah, to do some quests.
I'm
Do some
doing
damn
Murkmire
quests.
next week.
But have you?
Ooh, I haven't done Murkmire yet either.
It's good, actually. I finished that.
Heard
Christmas.
lots of good stuff about it.
I wonder how many ESO stream team members have actually done the quests. I'm just like, I'm finding out. I was like, I've really got to do some of these quests and really learn about the game because I don't think I've actually done many. And then I'm just finding out that not many people have, and I'm just like, what do people do when they play the game? They're just doing dungeons, and I'm like going to T stream, and she's
I've
juggling, and I'm like,
quested-
she just does juggling content now. That's fine.
I've done more questing on my stream than I have in like the entirety of me playing the game. I used to hate questing because it was like a requirement
Right? Yeah.
to get further, and it just put me off on it so much. But now, like, I get to share it with my community, and there's no pressure. You can do it whenever in whatever order you want. Sometimes I'll just go out and do something, and I don't rush through dialogue or anything, and it becomes like a little mini story time in stream.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah, it's
literally gonna
fun.
do that. Yeah, I'm gonna do that after the stream, after this podcast. Actually, I'm just gonna go and do some quests in the zone. Gonna start a new zone. That's what I'm gonna do. Juggling is end game, apparently. Is it
Yeah,
so?
the needing to do stuff is exactly me. Like, that's my struggle with Final Fantasy. I joined to do the Nier raid, and I can't. Like, the questing is just bogging me down hardcore.
I have to be in the mood for questing. Like I have to really be
Yeah.
like interested in reading and like listening and paying attention because otherwise I feel like if I skip through even a little bit like too fast then I'm totally lost. And I mean I guess I could kind of catch on, but it's so much better to do questing when you're actually into it and like willing to read everything and like listen because otherwise the story is just totally pointless.
Yeah, no,
like you
I
get
get that.
halfway through,
Yeah.
you don't know what's going
Mhm.
on.
It's true. Be connected. That's why with any story, I think, as well. If you're not connected to it, doesn't mean you miss a vital piece of information. That's me literally every stream. So, I'm just like, what happened? Where do I go? Because I'm just looking at things. I'm just like, whoa, that looks really cool. It's supposed to be going to kill someone. And they're standing in the corner, just like smashing the face of Lydia. And you're like, whoa, this looks so good. What is the story? Why am I here again? Oh, yeah. I need to save a rabbit from torture or something. I don't know. So I think we're pretty much done. Is there anything you guys would love to see improved in the game specifically that you have personally, or any like? Is there anything you would love to see changed or improved upon? Just looked
I
at
think-
T picture. I'm just
I
so
think
sorry.
we're both kind of waiting for each other. I think I'd like to see I don't know, I'd like to see them just maybe figure out what they want to do with as far as like balance goes and with the new expansion and the new DLC, the changes to skill lines and stuff. I just want to see everything like kind of go smoothly and hopefully bring back like some of the community that might have left for example like WoW Classic or like another game, just like bring some of them back and then also encourage like new people to come and then feel good about staying because they can keep up with it and also like know what's going on. And then just everything we kind of talked about today, I think there's a lot of good points and good things that we talked about.
The balance stuff is important. I didn't even bring that up. It's just like people are sad, people are happy. There's loads of stuff changing to the game, where I think they're still trying to get to a place where they've got this vision for the game, right? This thing, and all the improvements are like slowly coming, like down the line in the year, along with all of the stuff which is new. And then it's like once they put something in the game and they fix this thing, that changes and breaks because like there's put this brand new thing into this environment, the balance doesn't work, they're trying to change all the combat. I feel like sometimes they're almost working against themselves with the amount of work that they give themselves to do, which is really cool because we get new content. The problem is that things seem to break a lot, unfortunately. And I'm not saying, I'm not insulting, I'm being, respectful. It's just like, it's just a thing. When you put a thing into a game, it changes a lot of other stuff and code and other stuff in different, you plug a new thing into the wall socket, it overloads the socket and the whole thing goes down. Something else breaks. I don't know if that was a good analogy. I think it was. But but it's just like, I don't know. It happens in every single MMO I've played. Like, a new patch comes in and then suddenly that bird isn't sitting on that wall anymore. I don't know. Good shit example.
I think I kind of like lost my train of thought, but I think with like the whole topic of balance, I know it's definitely different from what you're talking about. We kind of talked about like new content coming out and the massive like changes and that kind of like being upsetting for like new players that farmed gear, like changes to sets and things. So that was kind of what I was getting at with like just consistency. And then also I think like it's really hard to please everybody, so there's no way to please everyone.
Nope.
So that's another thing that's like totally different.
It.
But
when you work that one out, then there's no. Let everyone know.
You have like your casual players, and then you have your end game players, and there's like so many differences between like all of the groups of players that it's just impossible. But I think like minor changes might be good with each patch instead of like massive ones. And I think they're working towards that. I just think it'll take time.
It's time. T, is there anything else you wanted to add?
As far as like changes go,
or improvements?
I'm happy that they're doing the performance improvements and kind of trying to clean things up a little bit. The game's hit 5 years last year.
Yeah.
And it was desperately needed. Some of the very first patches were like 3-hour patches. I remember how bad they were. They were awful. To the point where a lot of my friends never downloaded the Craglorn updates. They just left the game and went to WildStar.
Oh god.
So, it was really bad. So I feel like shorter patches, apparently the console players especially were getting ridiculously large patches, like hours long patches. Yeah. And so for them, I'm happy that it's going to take up less space. It's also going to be faster. It's supposed to have faster loading screens and stuff as well. If you've ever watched the console players streaming, it is... I really do sympathize a lot for them because it's mostly loading screens, and then sometimes their game crashes and they have to log back in and go through the loading screens again. And I'm just like, that can't be good for anyone. Players aren't happy. I'm sure the team, Zos, is not happy with that. So the fact that they've really committed to trying to just make it a more smooth experience for players is really says something about it, because they could just leave everything. They could just have more loot boxes. They could just be milking us for Crown Store stuff, but no, they really do want to improve the game overall, and as long as that continues, I'm pretty confident that things will go in the right direction. It's when the developers stop caring, stop worrying about that stuff, is when I would be concerned. So shout out, thank you, boss, for for keeping up for us.
He did a shout out to the devs. Exactly.
Shout out to an entire company.
Shout out to Zos. There you go. Awesome.
Yeah, and I think that's like the biggest thing everybody brings up too is like performance things. So I think it'll be really nice to have all of that before Skyrim. I'm super interested to see how it is after we like re-download or
Yeah, same here.
That will be interesting. Like it's almost like a
Soon.
defrag, right, of your game.
Never thought I'd look forward to re-downloading the game. But yeah,
Stardust
I'm
is just
excited
like,
to re-download it.
have we got that pet
The
already?
24th.
They said not to uninstall it, just to leave it and then install it from the launcher, right?
Yeah,
sure
it'll
that's
just
what
act
I
like a
read.
regular
Is it
patch.
just gonna delete
Mm-mm.
it?
That'd be nice.
Well, they
Yeah.
delete stuff rather than you have to reinstall the whole thing.
Correct. It's just gonna
Adjust
it's just gonna
files,
re-download the whole game, but you don't have to
delete it.
do anything.
So and then as it does it, it removes stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's flashy. That more
Yes.
space. You guys get to like, download something new, put another game in there, So if you've only had a hard drive that's got like 70 gig or whatever it is, get some space, people. Get some space. That's good, isn't it? It will just work. There you
Yay,
go.
space.
You only have Guild Wars 2 and the ESO on your SSD. Oh, there again. You can have more room for more activities. Anyway, time to go. When is it? 24th. I said, right? 20. Do you think you guys said 24th just now?
Yep. Next week. One
Next
week from now.
Yeah, shit. That's right. That's right. indeed.
February flew by.
This year is gonna go.
Yeah.
It's gonna go. Like anything. It's a big year. It's a big, massive year. Just start the game, do the just do the thing you normally do. Like the update thing, I guess. I'm assuming. I don't know. I've not done it. We'll find out. What happens is there's actually going to be like a big explosion on the screen. You think your PC is breaking? It's not. It's just getting better.
It'll just be like, just kidding.
It's just a random cutscene of T juggling. That's what they should do. That's what it should do. Just to have T come up on the screen randomly. Hi.
We can all juggle on the spicy island.
Oh my gosh!
Do you want to go and look at it? Do you
I
guys?
would like to.
You guys
Yeah.
want? Okay,
It's
all right.
really,
You stream. Do you want to see
really
this?
hilarious.
It's really what?
It's really hilarious.
Okay, let me see if I can get this going then. While we're in this thing, we'll end the podcast, but we will go and have a look on stream. Why not? As long as you guys are right and you've got time to do this and you're not busy, I don't want to hold up your time.
Yeah, I'm fine too.
There's always
guys-
time for Spicy Island.
Amazing. All right. I'm gonna sort this out. All right. First of all, we're gonna do the outro and then we'll do that as a little spicy extra for people that want to watch. But I want to say thank you to T the Khajiit, and this is for the audio peeps because you obviously can't see this. There's no point. T the Khajiit and Stardance who have joined us on this edition of the New Companions podcast. They've joined us this week talking about possible improvements and ideas and changes that could be made to the game in terms of just some general stuff that we're talking about, loads of stuff. T, where can we find you? What do you do? What times? And do you have a schedule?
I don't know what a schedule is, but
Yeah.
you can follow me and usually around in the evenings on
You just don't know what schedule is at all.
TV
What is a schedule?
for /T__Khajiit and also on Twitter like all the time.
Also
Same
on
name.
Twitter all the time. Excellent. There you go.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Go and follow and you'll find out. This is a true story. Same thing goes for you, the epic and awesome Star Dancer. Where can we find you? What are you up to? Where are you?
My Twitch name is just Star Dancer, and that's my main platform. So I'm usually streaming on Twitch 4 to 5 days a week, depending on my work schedule, because I also work outside of streaming. And then I've been working on my YouTube a bit too, so I've been posting some ESO stuff on there, and then also just some like playthroughs that we've been doing on stream. So for like some variety games and things. and we've been really enjoying Skyrim. So if anybody's welcome to stop by and watch me pick flowers and fight dragons very poorly, run away and leave Lydia. And yeah, I think that's it. I'm also on Twitter and Instagram, but I don't tweet a whole lot. I mostly retweet pretty scenes from Ghibli movies, but yeah.
Amazing. Okie dokie. So that is going to be the show for this week. I don't know when we're going to have another one. This one's been about 3 weeks, so I'm probably going to be over after the next DLC, which is Harrowstorm. And then we'll probably be back with some peeps. Might be some of these guys. You never know. We'll have to wait and see. But if you want to go and watch the VOD on Twitch or YouTube to find out about Spicy Island, then feel free to do so. I will end with the... This is going to be interesting. Spicy Island. It's actually what it's called. Anyway, I'll talk about it in a minute. Just can't believe this place exists. Then go and watch the YouTube VOD and watch the Twitch VOD if you would like to. If you're watching that right now, just carry on. And I am Jebro, twitch.tv/JebroUnity. If you want to join me on Twitch, I stream like 5 days a week. I'm at school at the moment as well, doing my grad degree. But I do this full time to help me push through and pay the rent and everything else. So if you do want to support this podcast or me or any of these guys, which I would definitely say go and do because they're hilariously and awesome, make sure you go and do that as well. And I'd really appreciate that if you check those guys out as well as me. So Stardancer and T the Khajiit on Twitch, and there you go, Stardancers on YouTube as well. Doing some I think you do some guide videos as well, don't you?
Yeah, mostly like event guides, and then I started doing some housing stuff, but I haven't had time to post my most recent stuff yet, so working on it.
Awesome. There you go. So make sure you go and check that out. But otherwise, we're going to wave. Actually, it doesn't matter if we wave because the audio people can't see it, but sound, everyone watching, there's a wave. The T is waving as well. I assure you, somewhere. We're just going to have a moment of silence. Goodbye, guys. If you're listening to this on iTunes or anyone else, thank you so much for watching. And we will see you next time on The New Companions. Now let's get to Spicy Island.